Hi, welcome back guys. This is your friend, the What If Guy, back with another fanfiction. This is the first part of What If Issei Was Messed Up. Now before starting, please give this video a like, and subscribe to the channel if you want more videos like this. Now let's get into the fanfic. Wake up big brother, if not I'll have to cuddle you. Another day and another stupid message from this alarm clock. Sure, an alarm clock that got a new alarm tone every day might have sounded appealing when I bought it, sounded interesting. But this was just ridiculous. At least it keeps me from wanting to hit the snooze button, I suppose. Issei, are you up? It's time to get ready for school, my mom yelled up the stairs. With a deep sigh I replied, yeah mom, I'm up. I'll be down in just a minute. Truth is I didn't want to go downstairs. I knew exactly what waited for me down there. Nevertheless I carried on to get ready for school. My uniform on, teeth brushed, and hair fixed, I descended the stairs in bitter anticipation. About time, boy, my father grumbled from his paper. You think the world is just waiting for you or something? Choosing to ignore the provocation, I greeted my mother. Good morning, Mom. Something smells delicious. Good morning, Issei. My mother smiled at me. It was at that moment I noticed her left wrist was slightly red and her cheek as well. My fists tightened as my father reached over and grabbed me by the back of the hair and began berating me. You ignoring me, boy. Got no greetings for your father who paid for the food you're about to eat. No, Dad, I responded begrudgingly. I'm not ignoring you. After I eat, I'll be all the glad to get out of your hair so you can get back to your work. Truth was my father had been out of a job for weeks. Something about disorderly conduct, and if I'm not wrong I heard Mom saying something to him about sexual harassment. So not only is he laying his hands on my mother now, but he is flirting with other women. I may not know what kind of man I want to be when I am older, but I can say for certain what kind I don't want to be. Unfortunately, my next reflex was something that pissed my dad off the most. His mom sat breakfast down in front of us, clasped my hands. I'm not exactly what you'd call a believer. I mean, why would any god let this kind of stuff happen? But my best friend growing up and his family had been very involved in the church. His dad had been the coolest man I'd ever met. He had this large sword he kept at home. The strangest thing happened when I touched it once. It had emitted this soft sort of glow. His dad had caught me, but instead of getting mad he just talked to me about the future and church. With things so bad at home I spent a lot of extra time there. Dad had tried to speak out to my friend's dad once. They had gone to a separate room at his behest, and when they exited my dad looked terrified. He had actually started treating Mom and I a lot better after that. Then my friend's family moved and well, things got a lot worse. That's the first time I ever remember him hitting me and Mom, at least. I didn't blame my friend's dad, but I couldn't help but think there was some kind of correlation. Now whenever I sat down to a meal and reflexively went to pray, he would reach out and smack me on the back of the head. Like he just did. Can't thank Dad for your food, but you can thank God, huh? Well then I guess you don't need my food, do ya? Go on, get out of here. You can eat in this house when you learn some appreciation. His shouts fell on deaf ears as I eagerly collect my things and headed for the door. My mother, knowing how futile it would be to argue, just came up to me at the door and gave me a gentle hug. It was her way of apologizing. I knew it wasn't her fault. She didn't make him act this way, and she deserved better. Still, as she hugged me, I barely resisted jumping as I felt her hand slide into my back pocket. It took me a second to get over the shock to realize that she was slipping me something and trying to keep my father from noticing. Have a good day, Issei. I will, Mom. I love you. A simple exchange of words. Sure, it only sounded natural to most people, but I always made sure I told my mother I loved her. If I was truly afraid of anything, it was that she wouldn't be there one day when I got home. Walking away from the house, I made sure I was out of eyesight before I checked my back pocket. $100 bill and a note. The message was brief but heartfelt. Have great day, Issei. Sorry I can't do more. Love, Mom. Crumpling the note in my hand, I closed my eyes and turned my head to the sky. I was desperately fighting back tears. Hey God, if you're out there and you're listening, please take care of my mom. The words caught in my throat as I silently whispered them. I love you, Mom. Knowing my words will scatter empty into the wind, I carried on. I love the kendo room in the morning. It would always glowed in the light of the early sun. After getting my gear on, I grabbed a shin, I hit the floor. These drills were one of the few things that kept me sane. Every kata was like a dance, and every move helped me forget a little. I was lost in my thoughts until I felt another sword crash against my own. Tiba, I acknowledged my friend. Good morning, Issei. Hard at it again, I see. He flashed his prince smile at me. Tiba Yugudo, the prince of Kyo Academy. His pretty face, graceful air, and charms bewitched all the girls of the school. The girls wanted him and the guys wanted to be him. He and I have been best friends since our first year of high school. He isn't a member of the kendo club, and yet he is a marvelous swordsman. I'd say I've probably learned more sparring him than the club. Even I'm not really sure why we are friends. He came by the club one day and I was alone practicing. Everyone else had already left. He asked if I'd like a friendly match, and everything else is history. More often than not he wins, but here in the past few months I've started to be a decent match for him. Good morning to you, Prince. You here to get your butt handed to you this early? That sounds like a really bad way to start the day, Issei taunted him, but the mirth was heavy in his voice. Kiba smiled gently in return. It does sound horrible to start the day out that way, and so I'd hate to put you through that. No, I was wondering if you'd be interested in stopping by the orc today. That's right, he's a member of that weird club. This wasn't the first time he'd asked me to drop by. The Occult Research Club was what it's called. The name pretty much says it all, but apparently they studied the occult things around Japan. I've stopped in before, but honestly I felt out of my element. Everyone there was very nice, but still I had this feeling that I didn't belong somehow. That being said, I have to admit the club president and vice president were both very beautiful. Of course, being the two famous big sisters of the school they would be. First you have the vice president, Akino Himejima. If I had to put it in words, I'd say she is a true Japanese beauty. Her pale skin, dark hair, violet eyes, and slim figure make her the picture of what you'd envision when you think beautiful Japanese girl. Her counterpart, the president of the club, is Ria's Gremory. It's hard to describe her with words. She has the air about her like she is some kind of royalty. From the way she carries herself to the way she speaks, everything about her seems very high society. Her crimson hair contrasts so strongly against her fair skin it's almost shocking. I can still remember her smile and striking blue eyes the moment we met. It was as if she was able to see through me. I felt almost naked in front of her gaze, yet never once did I feel judged or belittled. It was frightening in a way. I guess if I'm being really honest, there is one other feature about the two girls that really stands out. I'm not a pervert or anything, but those two have the biggest breasts of anyone I've ever seen. I've even heard some of the girls in the kendo club talk about it. I've avoided those conversations. Thanks a lot, man, but I'll pass. Everyone is really nice and all, but I don't think I really fit in there, I explained. A rare sad look passed Kiba's face. Sorry to hear that, man. Everyone really enjoyed having you. Ria's told me to bring you whenever I could. I'd really enjoy having you there, so come whenever you want. I'm not really sure what was sadder. The fact that I was letting down my friend or the fact that I was disappointing Ria's. Geez, what kind of guy does that make me? After Kiba left, I put my gear away and showered for school. That was when I heard trouble. Two girls' voices were coming from outside the locker room. For some reason our club has become dominated by girls. The only other guys quit when the new captain Kades, a girl, took over this year and mopped the floor with the other guys. Thanks to the training from Kiba I was able to win, but it was still a close match. They don't treat me badly, but I do think Kades and her friend Murayama resent me for being the strongest member in the club. Honestly, I try not to make anything out of it because they are still nice to me. As the voices came closer, I started to panic. There is never scheduled practice in the morning before school, so the building is free to use. It's pretty common knowledge that I come here in the morning too. So the question is, what are they doing here? The voices came closer and I could finally make them out. I think I hear the showers running. Someone must be back here. You think it's Issei? Probably. Why are they coming back here? Maybe if I yell out I can get them to go away and let me get dressed. Hey, I called out. It's Issei. Do you mind waiting in the dojo so I can get dressed? I'm just getting out of the shower. Don't worry, we can talk here. It's the captain. Yeah, we have something to tell you, her friend added in. Luckily the showers are large and I have all my stuff in here, so after getting dried off as fast as possible I started sliding into my clothes. Well, what's so important that it couldn't wait? Finally buttoning my pants, I walk out to find the captain and her friend not wearing tops. They even went as far as to let out fake tiny screams. WWW, what's going on here? If this is some kind of flirting thing, I'm really not into the two of you like that, I shouted without even thinking while covering my eyes. Oh no, Kades, Issei has peeked on us while we were changing, Murayama feigned distress. Kades played along. I think we'll have to tell all the other girls about this. Murayama continued the farce, but if we do that they will think he is a pervert and no one will want to have anything to do with him. His high school life will be miserable. I can obviously see where this is going, so I quit covering my eyes and looked straight into theirs, doing my best to avoid looking at either one's chest. Okay, so what's this all about? Your little performance is not funny. What do you want? Both girls smiled. We want you to quit the kendo club. The shock had to be obvious on my face, but why? Murayama answered, because since Kades took over it has become almost an all-girls club. Now say if Kades were better than you that would be one thing, but for our best member to be a boy and not our captain is a problem. So if you don't leave, we'll tell everyone that you came along to peek on us during morning training. The two girls smiled like they had me by the tail. Girls, there are a few flaws in your plan. They looked far more surprised than they should have been. Like what? I sighed. Well, first off, it's your word against mine since no one else is here. I understand there are two of you and all, but Kiba was just here and so he knows I was here first. Second, it's a commonly known fact that I come here before school. Several of the other girls have come early just to train with me. Third, and as you know, I'm kind of popular with most of the girls in the school, especially our club, having chased off the perverted duo on more than one occasion. They aren't just going to buy that I've turned pervert myself. Lastly, and this is just an observation mind you, but why did you actually take off your clothes at all when it's just my word versus yours? The looks on the two girls' face were utterly crestfallen. Of course they couldn't have known about the Kiba thing, but the rest of it was obvious. They slowly put back on their clothes, all the while glaring at me with tear-filled eyes. I just couldn't help myself. You two aren't actually idiots by any chance. Murayama snapped at me. I'll have you know Kades is 86th in our class. I tilted my head. And what about you? Kades responded instead. She tries really hard. All I could do was shake my head. I don't understand. I've never had any issue with the two of you. I don't want to be captain and I've always thought you did a great job. I think the guys who left because they were weaker than you are idiots. So why are you being so harsh to me? The girls seemed to lose their resolve for a moment but instantly sprung back. It was Murayama who finally replied, "We don't want you here, Issei. You might be the great knight of our Prince Kiba, but you still don't belong here. Can't you just get that you aren't wanted?" Something about those words stung. It struck a lot deeper than I thought it would anyway. Kendo was the one thing that I did that genuinely brought me peace, but now I'm not wanted here. I can feel the tears welling up in my eyes. Somewhere else that I'm not wanted. "Issei," they said in unison. I finished getting myself ready and left without a word. The two girls had seemed to have lost all of their steam and wore a guilty expression on their faces. I headed towards the school building with my bag. The sky was so blue and the sun made the morning look so cheerful. So why was it on such a sunny day that I felt so blue? Hey God, it's me again. I know I'm asking a lot and all, but if you could just help me find somewhere to belong, I'd really appreciate it. And as always, take care of Mom. Issei bowed his head as he finished. How long would his words fall on deaf ears? Issei couldn't actually recall the rest of the day. It all seemed to go by in a blur. Sure, Issei belonged at school, but that wasn't a choice anyone made, it was a law. He really didn't feel like he was wanted there. Suddenly I found myself on a bridge. Underneath was a street full of traffic. Off to the west was the setting sun, and all around me were people going home. I couldn't help but stop and think where I belong in all of this. I'm certainly not the suicidal type, but wouldn't it be so easy to climb over the wall here? I'd fall a bit and then it'd all be over. Hello, I was shaken from my stupor when a voice called out to me. I looked over to see a girl I didn't know. Her uniform wasn't one from my school, so I wasn't sure who she was or where she was from. "Are you okay?" she continued. "I saw you standing there and couldn't help but call out to you. Staring off into the sunset like that with such a deep and thoughtful expression on your face, you looked like someone from a movie. It was kind of cool." "Hey," was honestly all I could manage. Without even looking the least bit frustrated, she repeated herself, "Are you okay?" Shaking off my funk, I finally replied, "Sorry, I was a bit lost in thought there. I'm okay, just kind of a rough day, I guess. Thanks for asking though." "That's okay, I just wanted to be sure you were okay. I'm Yuma Amano." It sounded like she was trying to comfort him. I tried to produce the most genuine smile that I could. "Thanks a lot, Yuma, I really needed that. My name is Issei Hayaru, right?" She interrupted me, obviously knowing who I am. "Sorry, yeah, I already knew that. Truth is, there was another reason I approached you. I've been watching you for a while now and was wanting to ask you a question." I was completely blown away. This girl knew who I was and had been watching me. I guess I should have been weirded out, but to be honest, I was flattered. After the day I've been having, someone who was actually looking for me, wanting to see me, was a desirable distraction. This time my smile required no effort. "Well, Yuma, it seems you have me at a disadvantage here. But I guess I owe you for checking on me here. What can I do for you?" She began to mumble something that I couldn't hear. "Sorry, I can't understand. Could you speak up? Would you go out with me?" She'd gone from mumbling to shouting at me. "I think you're really cool and would like you to be my boyfriend." I'm immediately caught off guard by her request. "You want to go out with me?" She clenched her fist to her chest with her reply, looking as earnest as possible. "I saw you in a kendo tournament earlier this year and you were really cool. Then when I asked some girls from school about you, they said you were the knight of Kyo Academy. Then I saw you around a few times around places and you just seemed so nice and together. Most of the guys our age are just pervy jerks. So would you please go on a date with me this weekend?" I stood there shocked. All day I'd been looking for a place to belong. Maybe this, maybe she, was it. I know the kind of guys she must be running into. Our own perverted duo leave much to be desired, and our school was only just made co-ed last year, so it's still dominated by girls. Maybe having a girlfriend would give me something to feel like I belong. I know other people can't make you happy, but still. "God, was this you?" answer. "Sure," I blurted out. Yes, I'd be happy to go out with you. Would this weekend work for you?" Her smile grew so large that it filled me with warmth. "Wonderful, I'll meet you at park at 10 then." "Okay. Sounds great." I could barely contain my excitement. Not even my dad's bad mood could bother me that night. To be honest, him being passed out drunk did help a bit. Mom was in the kitchen when I got home finishing dinner. Well, it's been a long time since I've seen a smile like that on my baby boy's face. That'd be a girl. My mom never really cut up much when my father was awake. It was a rare treat to see this side of her come out. She figured me out so fast it had me spinning. "Well, maybe. I think that I might have met someone special. We're going on a date this weekend." She raised the back of her hand to her forehead. "Oh my, I'm losing my baby boy. He's all grown up and going to find another woman to care for him. What will I do without my boy?" "Haha, Mom," I chided, "you can quit with the theatrics. It's a first date and I don't really know her all that well." Surprisingly, she walked over and wrapped me up in a hug. "I'm just glad that my boy had something good happen to him. You deserve all the happiness in the world. Just stay happy for the rest of your life." I wrapped my mom tight in a hug. She deserved all the happiness in the world. I couldn't begin to understand why she stayed with this bum. "Why, Mom, why?" The rest of the week seemed to breeze by. I didn't see Yuma again, even though I stopped by the bridge every day. I also only went to the kendo club room in the mornings for practice. I wasn't sure if I was going to quit, but I wasn't ready to face the captain yet. By the end of Friday, I was basically bouncing with anticipation for the weekend. That was when I got a surprise. "Hey, Issei." It was Kiba waiting for me outside my classroom, but he looked nervous. "I know it's not really your club, but will you please visit the org today with me?" Kiba had asked me tons of times to go, but never like this. If it's that important to you, man, of course I will. I've got to ask though, are you okay? You seem different. He tried to smile, but it just wasn't reaching his eyes. Yeah, Issei, all good, just something I wanted to talk to you about. The president and I, that is, Riaz wants to talk to me. This was shocking news indeed. No problem, bro. Just try and chill out a bit, okay? He let out a deep sigh and turned. Just follow me then, Issei. The familiar path to the old school building seemed longer today as Kiba's nervous state filled me with dread. I've known Kiba for a while now, and one thing you can always count on is his calm and collected demeanor. I think half of my popularity comes from being friends with him. What could have my best friend so spooked? Upon entering the club room, Kiba took a seat in a chair and gestured for me to have a seat on the couch. I noticed the petite Kaneko, our school's unofficial mascot, sitting next to me. Good afternoon, Kaneko, I greeted her. How are you today? She nodded to me. Good afternoon, Issei. I am well, thank you. I had to chuckle a bit as she went straight back to eating her snack. She kind of reminded me of a cat. They give you a hint of attention and then go straight back to ignoring you. It just made her seem cute to me though. That was when Riaz and Akina walked through an adjoining door. Riaz's hair seemed to shimmer a bit in the light, as if she really need anything else to make her seem more regal. Honestly, good Kiba, you brought him. She addressed Kiba first before turning her gaze upon me. It was hard to say anything with those dazzling blue eyes staring at me. Forgive my tardiness, Issei. After a particularly long school day, I just love a good shower. I couldn't help but swallow a bit before responding, no worries. Now Kiba said there was something the two of you needed to talk to me about. Kiba looked away a bit, but Riaz's gaze never faltered. Yes, Issei, we of the Occult Research Club are going on a bit of a field trip this weekend to Kyoto. It is a bit of an overnight trip in which we will be looking into some of the local myths there. Kiba has informed me of some trouble you've been having in the Kendo Club, and I thought this would be the perfect occasion for you to meet us and really see if you could enjoy our club. Truly I was touched, but I already knew my response. Thanks so much, but I must decline. As fun as that sounds, I have a date scheduled for this Saturday. I don't want to be the kind of guy that goes back on his plans like that. Sincerely though, thank you. Riaz didn't seem the least bit deterred by this. Oh, I see. Well, please think about it. This will be a pretty big trip, and I know Kiba really wants you to go. I'd also really like you to be there. I guess you can say that I've been wanting to get to know more about you for a while now. Was I hearing this right? Riaz Gremory, the most beautiful girl in our entire school, maybe the city wants to get to know me better. I took a second to think about it, and then immediately felt like crap. Feeling depressed, I replied, wow, I must really be a crappy guy. Maybe I really am his son after all. Kiba noticed my change in mood immediately. Issei, what's the matter? It's just that. I stopped clenching my fist in frustration at my own thoughts. I have a perfectly nice girl who is interested in me. She asked me out on a date and I said yes. Now I have this beautiful other girl asks me out, and even if it was only for a moment, I considered bailing on her. That makes me just as bad as him. I admit, Riaz, you are most likely the most beautiful girl I've ever met. Any man you would be lucky to your attention. But I won't be the kind of scum who hurts a nice innocent girl just to be with someone prettier. I would never hurt a woman like that. Everyone looked uncomfortable now. If it wasn't what I said, it was my outburst. I felt as uncomfortable as everyone else looked. It was obviously time to go. Excuse me, and with that I stood to leave. Riaz broke from her usual demeanor and gently grabbed my arm. Issei, I'm sorry. I wasn't trying to say anything to upset you, but we would love to have you. Thanks, was all I managed before heading out the door. That was when something else unexpected happened. Kiba jumped up and grabbed me by the arm. Please, Issei, don't go out with her. She's a... Kiba, you mustn't, Riaz cut in. But President, if we don't tell him then, Kiba pleaded. Her expression shouted distress, but she shook her head. You know the rules. Okay, now I was lost. What the heck is going on here? Kiba, you seem to know something. I'm really struggling right now. Okay, so help me out here. You are my best friend. Please don't hold out on me. His face distorted in pain and he looked away. This just seemed like the final straw. I'd had it. So my best friend is holding out on me now. The one person I believe in, rely on, and you are leaving me out when something seems this important. I know I'm only speaking in pain right now, but it's all I have. I raced out of the building with Kiba calling my name. I didn't hesitate or stop to look back. I feel like I'm breaking apart. At least I have my date with Yuma to look forward to. I can also talk to Mom when I get home. Running all the way home, I was starting to slow down due to exhaustion. My chest felt heavy from all the running and I was barely holding the tears back. I had to get home and see my mom. Sirens wail in the distance. No, I knew it didn't mean anything, but I ran, my heart dreading the worst. It was as I feared. When I reached my home, I saw the EMTs carrying my mother on a stretcher. Mom, it's me. I screamed. Mom, I'm here. Please say something. Slowly, she turned to look at me. I could see 2 black eyes and blood streaming down her face. Bruising was apparent all over her. She was trying to speak, but her voice wasn't coming out. I forced past the cops and others and held her hand. Mom, I'm sorry. If only I'd been here, I cried as I held her hand. Giving up talking, she squeezed my hand and did her best to give me her I love you smile. I'm sorry, son, we need to take her so we can stop the bleeding, the EMT told me. All I could do was nod as they took her away. Silently, I prayed that this wouldn't be the last time I held her hand. We've got him. He is stinking drunk though, sir, and fighting every step of the way. He's been yelling that she stole from him, an officer behind me stated. That's right, that filthy bitch stole $100 from me. I bet she gave it. That's when he seemed to notice me. You. Give me back my money, you little shit. I ought to whoop your ass right here, you little bastard. That'll be enough with just the spousal abuse, the officer hauling him away said. I had to admit when the officer accidentally slammed his father's head into the door of the police car when putting him in, it gave him a sick sense of satisfaction. I watched them drive away before stumbling inside my house. I vaguely remember one of the officers asking me if they needed to contact a relative. I think I told them I was 16 and would be okay by myself. Something about calling someone. I don't know who I'd call though. We really don't have any immediate living relatives. That's probably part of the reason Mom seemed so stuck. No, what was really haunting me was something else altogether. As they were taking him, I heard him screaming about $100, and I knew exactly what he was talking about. I also knew precisely at that moment where my mom got that $100 from. The man I once called father had a fishing fund. It was really his go out and get hammered ever so often fund. Ever since he lost his job, however, he just drank at home. I guess Mom thought she could sneak some of the money out for me, which basically means that this is all my fault. The tears poured from my eyes. I didn't have any strength to hold them back. Mom, Dad, where were you? Mom, please watch over her now and bring her back to me. Sun streaked into my window as the sun rose on the next day. I watched it slowly rise. It's not like I'd been sleeping anyways. Since I couldn't sleep, I'd gone over all of the details of date I was going to have today. I actually figured I was going to cancel until I called the hospital and they told me my mom couldn't have visitors for the next 24 hours. Apparently she had some severe damage, so she was in a critical care unit for observation. It felt a little wrong going on a date right now, but it wouldn't do me any good to sit around here moping. Plus, as sad as it is, I have nothing and no one else right now. My day was looking up, however, when I showed up half an hour early and found Yuma waiting for me. She was wearing a beautiful sundress and a big floppy hat on her head. It was so cute it should have been wrong. You know the guy is supposed to be here first, don't ya? I teased her. She blushed a little, which melted my heart. Sorry, I was just so excited I hardly slept. What about you? How did you sleep? I chuckled a bit, trying to hold back the pain. Didn't get a wink. She didn't need to know the real reason why though. She giggled at that. Yeah, I definitely needed this. As the date went on, I could feel a gentle peace take hold of me. Was this going to solve all of my problems? No, far from it, but right now this is what I need. As the day went on, we did everything I could think of. We went to the movies, ate lunch, and then the arcade. I even won her a little scrunchie. Sure, it was lame, but she seemed to love it. Thank you God for this. I was almost thinking you'd abandon me there for a minute. Yuma, I stopped her as we strolled through the park, only just then realizing I was holding her hand. Thank you for today. There are a lot of things I want to tell you, but I can't. What I can say is I needed today so much that I can't even begin to tell you how much it has meant to me. Her cheeks turned the faintest shade of red. Oh, Issei, you say the sweetest things. There is one more thing I'd really like to do. Can we go to the water fountain in the park really quick? It's the perfect spot for this. Okay, that's not far, and look, the sun is about to set. I really wasn't ready for this to end either. As we walked up to the water fountain, she hopped up and started walking across the edge, giggling. Well, here we are, my dear Yuma. What is it you would like to do? Well, the truth is, Issei, I have a favor to ask. She leaned towards me as she spoke. After everything she'd done for me today, I couldn't think of anything I wouldn't do for her. Name it. Would you? Suddenly her smile turned into more of a wicked grin. Die for me. The shock was crazy. I wasn't able to process what she was saying. I mean, I must have heard her wrong. I laughed softly. Sorry, Yuma, I must have misunderstood. What was it you wanted? Her grin stayed firm. Oh, that's simple, my dear Issei. Just die for me. I couldn't deny it a second time. I watched as the beautiful young girl in front of me turned into a scantily clad, voluptuous woman with black feathered wings. I should have been shocked, but honestly all I could do was collapse to my knees. This was it. I couldn't handle any more. I'm not sure why she was doing this or what she wanted, but this was the final betrayal. I suddenly felt so empty and hollow. Why, Yuma, was all I could manage. Oh, my sweet boy, I really did have a good time with you. Unfortunately, you have a sacred gear in you and now you have to die for it. Orders are orders, my darling. She walked over and placed a kiss on my cheek. Please don't be angry. It's not like you have anything else without me, right? Your mom is in the hospital, probably dying, and whose fault is that? Your dad will probably kill you if he gets out of jail. You are being kicked out of your club and just lost your best friend. Really, isn't dying the best thing for you? I had no response. I couldn't even argue with her. She was right on all accounts. Maybe it was really better if I died. My hollow eyes just took in the woman in front of me, the woman I thought I might have loved, that might have loved me, my godsend. Oh, my poor sweet boy. Do take care in the afterlife. Holding her hand out, she held some sort of spear made of light. I watched her and waited. She readied the spear, a new sadistic look in her eyes that held nothing of the Yuma that I knew. Empty, hollow, and emotionless, I simply awaited death. I wasn't even going to move, but for a moment I think she hesitated. A look crossed her eyes that looked vaguely like pain. There might even be tears in her eyes, but with a shake of her head her sadistic look returned and she threw the spear. There was now a huge gaping hole in my chest. I sat there on my knees watching as the blood poured from the wound. I couldn't really feel any pain though. I couldn't feel anything. Well, that's it for me. Goodbye, my sweet boy. Those last words sounding just like the woman I knew was Yuma. She flew away. Finally, my body collapsed to the ground and I stared up into the sky. The stars were starting to come out. For some reason, I wasn't worried anymore. Honestly, a strange sense of peace came over me. At least this way, if my mom dies, I'll be with her. Guess it's my time. God, I want to be angry, so very angry at you. But what good would it do me? I won't lie and say thoughts like why didn't you save me aren't crossing my mind. But it doesn't matter. We all make choices and I really can't hold you responsible for someone else. If I could have one last wish though, please take care of my mom. She deserves so much better. Please help her to get better and go start a new life without that jerk. That's it. Thanks for giving her to me and for life so far. Sending his wishes into the wind, he drifted peacefully away. Through the bushes, Kiba burst through wielding a sword in each hand. His eyes scanned the area until he found Issei and raced over. He immediately checked the area for danger. Finding none, he collapsed to his knees beside his dying friend. He had been searching for Issei for the past several hours. Only now, too late, did he find his best friend. Impaled through the chest, he had died alone. It was at that moment something welled up inside of Kiba, something he hadn't felt since he was a child. Sorrow. So Kiba did the only thing he could. He screamed in agony, "Ahhh. Issei, my friend, please don't die," Kiba shouted into the night as he clutched his friend's body. It was only then that he knew what to do. He had to contact Rias. Maybe she could do something. No sooner had he made the communication circle did a blinding light appear in front of him. It was in the shape of a cross, and as the dread spread across his skin, he knew exactly what was about to appear before him. A beautiful woman clad in white robes and long blonde hair stood there before the two dying boys. Kiba wanted to yell at her to leave, but at that moment he realized she was crying. "What do you want?" he asked with less venom than he'd expected. She walked slowly forward and placed a hand on his head. A gentle smile spread across her face as she stroked his best friend's hair. Kiba couldn't place the look on her face, but it did remind him faintly of the look Rias had when she'd found him so long ago freezing and dying. This boy said a prayer as he died. Would you like to know what he prayed for? Kiba looked at the woman with surprise clearly etched along his features. He actually longed to hear what she had to say. What? She then turned her smile to him, the tears still streaming down her face. He didn't get mad and curse the God he believed in. He didn't blame anyone or think he should have been saved. Even though he had every right in the world, he wasn't the least bit mad. He simply asked for God to take care of his mother. I don't know if you're aware, but his father, that despicable man, beat her nearly to death over a little bit of money that she'd given Issei because he was denying his son meals. Issei asked that we care for and watch over her. Not a thing did he ask for himself. Not help, nor a second chance. He even thanked heaven for having been born to his mother, even after all the misery he suffered. Kiba, hearing this, dropped his blade to the ground. He embraced his friend as they clattered to the ground. Bitterly he wept into his friend's chest. It was at that moment a red magic circle appeared behind him. He turned, knowing well the person behind him, Rias. Rias stepped beside him and the angel backed away. "Oh no. How could we have let this happen to you? I'm so sorry, Kiba. I know you wanted to tell him, but we couldn't. Oh Issei, why couldn't you have just come with me? But don't worry, you won't die here." Suddenly Rias pulled out several red chess pieces from her hand. It would take all of her pawn pieces, but she would gladly use them to help this young boy. The problem was the angel that stood in front of her, who seemed opposed to this idea. Rias and Kiba backed away slightly, releasing their devil wings, revealing themselves for what they were. Unfortunately, that's when the woman in front of them released 6 sets of angel wings. Rias knew that even at night when devils were at their strongest, they were no match for the woman in front of them. Instead of fighting, she held up her hands. "Kiba, I shall defer to your judgment on this, but make haste, for he has precious little time. Please think carefully, and remember his prayer. What do you think would make him happy?" Rias noticed the inner struggle on the face Kiba. He was obviously battling with this decision, but she couldn't understand why. With a word, the angel would leave and she could help his friend, so why? Once again, Kiba released his sword and turned away. "Come on, President, he doesn't belong with us." Rias was upset and confused. She passed one more longing look at the boy before addressing the angel. "Promise me you'll take good care of him." The angel just smiled fondly at her. "The best, you have my word." Unexpected tears fell from her face as she turned to run after Kiba. She couldn't help but wonder what she had just missed out on. She was simply forced to trust in the decision Kiba had made. "You have far too much potential for any regular card. I would very much love to make you my jack, but I can feel the power you have lurking inside you, so only this card seems appropriate." She softly spoke as she placed the card against his chest. "I, Gabriel, hereby summon you back to this world, child, as a servant of the high heavens. Be reborn now as one of heaven's jokers and join me, you who I find most worthy." Cradling the young man in her arms, she carried him gently and in a blinding flash of light took him to heaven. My eyes fluttered open. Considering the last thing, I remember this quite unexpected. Looking around, I see a room brightly lit with no obvious source of light. Beside me, resting peacefully, was a woman in all white. Her silky blonde hair cascaded down her shoulder and face as she slept peacefully with her hands holding one of mine. Maybe I am in heaven. I hate to wake her, but she's the only person who can answer my question. Excuse me. Excuse me. Her eyes fluttered open. It seemed to take her a second to take in her surroundings. Then suddenly her eyes widened and she hugged me tightly. Her powerful hug drove my face into her rather well-endowed chest. Something I suppose I should be happy about. That is, except for all of the things that have just happened to me and the fact that I like to breathe. Suddenly the woman loosened her grip on me and held my shoulders at arm's length. All the while her smile continued to beam at me. Issei Hayadu, I am the angel Gabriel. An angel ... Wow, I stammered. I guess this means I really am dead though, huh? She giggled a bit at that. While it is true that I am an angel, this is heaven and you aren't quite human anymore, I can most certainly assure you that you are not dead. And if it's any consolation, your mother is doing just fine. I felt as though an enormous weight had been lifted off of my shoulders. I wanted to cry again, but honestly, after all I've cried recently, I didn't want to feel like a big baby. Still, I was overjoyed at the news. Thank you so much. I embraced her in a hug this time, my head slightly higher. You have no idea what this means to me. Thank you. She let me hold her till I was done and then backed away. I guess I should ask, what exactly am I now? With a slightly more mischievous grin, she helped me stand. I found myself dressed in a simple white gown. Honestly though, I was just happy to not have a massive hole in my chest. I think it would be easier to show you. She gestured her arms to her sides. Try to feel yourself opening up and spreading out. It seemed a bit silly, but as she suggested, I did what she did and followed her instructions. Having expected nothing to happen when 2 sets of pure white wings erupted from my back, you can imagine I was more than a little surprised. I'm an angel, I stuttered out. That's right, she stated as she brought out all 12 of her wings, and as I've said, I am an angel as well. One of the 4 leaders of heaven to be exact. You may call me Gabriel. I dropped to one knee without hesitation. I wasn't sure what I was supposed to do, but this seemed like a good idea as any. I had thought she was cute when she was sleeping, beautiful when awake, but now she was on a whole other level. She was simply divine, no pun intended. My eyes cast downward, I didn't realize she was reaching for me until I felt her hand on my shoulder. When I looked up, we were face to face as she was squatting in front of me. Beautiful, the word escaped my mouth before I could stop it. She simply gave me another gentle smile, with maybe a hint of red in her cheeks. Why, thank you. You are quite handsome yourself, young man. That aside, I need to tell you about how things stand with your life as they are now. I swallowed hard. I knew that things would be different. I am an angel now. I can't exactly go home and live with Mom. I would have to stay in heaven with Gabriel. Still, that wasn't her fault, and I certainly wasn't going to blame her for it. Just tell me whatever you need, my lady. As I see it, my life is yours, I replied as respectfully and genuinely as I was able. Oh, my silly boy, don't worry about being so formal when it's just the 2 of us. Save that lady business for when we are in public. Her smile was so full of warmth that I could feel it throughout my entire body. First, we shall talk about where you are. Right now you are in what is called first heaven. This is where angels live. You are currently in the house of hearts, where people who serve under me live. Now let's get to exactly what you are. Angels are created by God. However, we now have the ability to reincarnate new angels. Humans who have lived a good life and are strong can be reborn as angels, known as brave saints. You are such a brave saint. Each high-ranking angel that is allowed to have followers is given a set of cards. Each set follows a specific suit as in a regular deck of playing cards. We are considered the king cards, so we can reincarnate a queen card all the way through an ace. You, however, are a special case. Your potential power is incredibly high, so any ordinary card was ill-suited to you. You receive the Joker card. You do not serve me directly as one of my brave saints. However, you will be known as my Joker, and your main job will be to protect me and follow my orders directly. Is this all clear so far? I nodded my head, quietly trying to absorb the information. That's wonderful, my sweet boy. Now I must be off. My brothers called a meeting some time ago, but I simply could not attend until you made a recovery. She spoke with her usual grace and a hint of something else, maybe exasperation. How long have I been out for? I wondered aloud. She refused to look straight at me, the pain evident on her face. 3 days. I was very concerned that I was too late. For some reason, it broke my heart to see her that way, so I did the only thing I could think of. Embracing her once more, I wrapped her tightly in my arms. Thank you, Gabrielle, for everything, I whispered into her ear. Her beautiful smile once again in place, she wished me well before disappearing in a blinding flash of light. I just realized that I wasn't quite sure where I was and what to do. I found myself playing with my wings until the doors to my room opened suddenly. A woman in white robes walked into the room. Her blue eyes and blonde hair stood out to him, but her face seemed so familiar. She looked almost like an actress or celebrity. Yet the aura she radiated, as well as her powerful frame, told him she was not to be underestimated. Lady Gabrielle, pardon the intrusion, but as she quit talking when she noticed I was awake and alone in the room. Glancing over me, she addressed the situation, whereas Lady Gabrielle gone. She said she has a meeting to attend with her brothers. I replied, not really sure what I was supposed to be saying. Goodness, it's about time, she sighed. Lord Uriel was quite upset. The meeting has been postponed for days now, you know. Lady Gabrielle has been quite worried about you. She would not leave your side for a moment. How are you? I was told you were just reincarnated, weren't you? The end of her question seemed a bit off as she examined me. I'm sorry to have worried her. I wish I could explain what happened, but I'm not really sure myself. The first date I ever had, and the girl grew black wings and sent a spear of light through my chest. I am very flattered concerning Lady Gabrielle's attention, though I don't feel deserving of it. I actually feel fine, all things considered. No gaping hole in my chest, you know. And yes, according to Lady Gabriel, it has been 3 days. There's no way. The last person to be resurrected with more than one set of wings was. She stopped and seemed to consider things for a moment. What card did she use to revive you? Oh, she said she used the Joker, I replied casually. Her look in response was anything but casual. She used what? The Joker, I responded, a tad frightened this time, and began fiddling with my wings nervously. Is something wrong? She looked sympathetic but frustrated. I'll say it is. Now I know why a meeting was called. Don't worry though, none of this is your fault. Michael would never punish someone when they did nothing to deserve it. But if you keep playing with that, you'll go blind. I jumped a bit at her joke and then sighed, somewhat depressed that I found my way into another dramatic situation. Thank you for your help. I'm sorry I didn't catch your name. My apologies. How rude of me, she replied quickly and with a slight bow and holding up her left hand displaying a Q. I am Griselda, Lady Gabriel's queen. It is a pleasure to meet you, Issei Hayao. Oh, so you already know who I am? I'd ask. She smiled, only a little. I did hear about your prayer though. Lady Gabriel could not quit speaking of it. You must truly be pure of heart to have moved her so. I couldn't help but chuckle a bit in reply. Well, I don't know if I'd go that far. I mean, I still have the occasional dirty thought like any boy my age. Humility, she nodded at me, the mark of a great man. Truly special in one so young. I just scratched my head as she showed me a change of clothes and began the great tour of first heaven. Elsewhere, in sixth heaven, a council was held among the 4 great seraphim, Lords Michael, Uriel, Raphael, and Lady Gabriel. Upon arrival, Gabriel was greeted by a smile from Michael and Raphael, yet as she expected, Uriel was less than pleased. I'm sorry for my absence, brothers, but I had to see to the health of heaven's newest saint. I hope you understand, she explained. Uriel, however, wasn't prepared to be forgiving just yet. 3 days we have waited for this and put off other priorities. Do you not believe we have better things to do? Lord Michael simply raised his hand. Let us not bicker now. It is over and we are all present now. Now please, discuss why you called this meeting, Uriel. Fine, he replied bitterly. Obviously I have called this meeting to address the rather grievous breach in conduct as it pertains to the creation of brave saints. Raphael chose this moment to speak up. Please express your exact concerns. Uriel was only too pleased to keep talking. Fine then. First off, he is not a trained exorcist. From what I can tell, he barely ever set foot in a church. He isn't what I'd consider strong enough to become a brave saint. Then there is the more serious issue. This child isn't even a true believer. He was never baptized and has only prayed when he wanted something. Gabriel grew red in the face. My brother, you are entirely out of line. You are correct that he is not a regular churchgoer, nor has he received any formal exorcist training. But his heart is as pure as the fallen snow. His prayers have never once been anything but selfless. Moreover, there is no way you missed his dying prayer. Tell me, who could be more worthy? But we have rules. Lord Uriel was prepared to make what even he knew to be a failing rebuttal before Michael again waved a hand for silence. While you have a valid point, Uriel, I must side with Gabriel on this. Yet I must ask Gabriel, a joker, was that necessary? Gabriel only grinned. Just meet the boy, brothers. Evaluate him for yourselves and you will understand. House of Hearts common room. After being shown around heaven, Griselda and I retired to the House of Hearts common room. I'd seen all the other houses. She'd explained to me all about the 3 factions and how they operate in this world. She told me that Yuma must have been a fallen angel and been sent to kill me. The thought had chilled me, but she hadn't let me dwell on it for long as we moved along. It was amazing. I had become part of something so grand. It seemed like she, along with all of the other hearts, lived in this house and that I would have a room here too. She did mention, however, that the rules for me were a little different, so she wasn't sure how things would work out. It was as we were taking a break and grabbing a snack that 4 crosses of light appeared before us. Quickly I went down to one knee following Griselda's example. I could only wonder what would happen now. Lady Gabriel addressed us. Please rise, you two. This, brothers, is heaven's newest joker, Issei Hayao. Feeling as though I should say something, I bowed. I am honored to meet you all. As she said, I am Issei Hayao and it is my great honor to serve you. Greetings, Issei. I am Michael, the Archangel of Heaven. I am pleased to see you well. Beside me are my brothers, Uriel and Raphael. The blonde in the middle addressed me. They were all dressed in attire similar to that of Lady Gabriel, white robes, but each with a different colored cloth hanging around their necks with the symbol of their suit on them. The 2 other men seemed to gaze at me as if trying to size me up and ascertain my true worth. He has 2 sets of wings, the one called Raphael input. That he does, Lady Gabriel replied to him, and he hasn't even unlocked it yet. I was unsure of what she was talking about, but I figure it best, for now, to stay quiet. Finally, Michael came up and hugged me gently. Welcome to the fold, Issei. I am very pleased to have you. Please serve heaven well. Lord Michael requested of me so sincerely I knew it wasn't even an order. With my life, Lord Michael. The 3 men then disappeared into lights and were gone. Lady Gabriel had a very pleased look on her face. I have no idea how old she truly is, but the childish innocence of her face makes it very hard to imagine her being much older than me. Of course she is though, much, much older. After watching her do a small victory dance that I wasn't sure I understood or knew if a lady like herself should do. Eventually I chose to break the moment. Forgive my rudeness, my lady, but what do I do now? Well, before we go any further into being an angel, I think you have some human matters to take care of. I was touched at her concern, but not exactly sure what she was getting at. I believe you have a mother in the hospital whom you owe a visit. Am I correct? I could hardly contain the joy in my body hearing her suggestion. Yes, Lady Gabrielle, that would be fantastic. Thank you so much. That was when a small frown crossed her face. Hey Issei, I thought we had to talk about all that calling me lady stuff. Ooh, it makes me sad, you know. I scratched the back of my head and laughed. Her entire method of speaking changed easily with her mood. I couldn't help but still be overjoyed at the thought of seeing my mother. Besides, her pout was far too cute to make me sad. Sorry about that. I gave her my best smile. You are just so radiant, my lady, that addressing you as such comes out as naturally as breathing. But if it makes you happy, I will endeavor to do better. I will do whatever I can to bring a smile to your face. Her blush once again reminded me just how innocent she was. Oh Issei, keep talking like that and I don't know what I'll do with you. My wonderful joker, you constantly remind me that I made the right decision with you. Shall we go? I smiled at her as she wrapped her arm around mine. I felt like a knight escorting a beautiful princess. That was until Grisela tried to make it painfully obvious that she was still in the room. I winced a bit as I recovered from a sharp elbow to the ribs. I met her disapproving eyes. Yes, Grisela, am I forgetting something? She scowled at me. Don't you think that you are acting a little too familiar with Lady Gabrielle? Oh, don't be so stuffy, Grisela. I remember doting on you quite a bit when you were first reborn. Don't I still brush your hair on Ceres? Gabrielle answered for me. Grisela's face turned several shades of red in a matter of moments. Lady Gabrielle, please. Even I have asked you to not get so carried away. He is new and young. I just feel that you should be prudent in your behavior with him. Oh, Gabrielle's response carried a power that I had yet to feel from her. So you presume to tell me how I am to behave, my queen? Grisela fell to one knee so fast that the sound of her knee striking the marble echoed down the halls. I would have honestly done the same had Gabrielle not held me fast. For the first time, I became very aware of what it meant to be one of the four great seraphim. Grisela refused to meet our king's eyes as she apologized. Please forgive my impudence, my lady. It is not my place to tell you how you are to behave. I was far out of line. I beg your forgiveness. Gabrielle returned to her normal state and stepped away from me to stroke her queen's head gently. Worry not, my queen. I know that you were only trying to fulfill your duty. I am always thankful for your diligence. I readily admit my fondness for my newest card. Even though he is not officially a heart, I care for him. My precious joker has gone through terrible loneliness, and I will make sure for as long as he lives that he will never feel lonely again. Grisela then turned her eyes to me. They were much softer now, but somewhere in them, a quiet storm brewed. I now knew the full extent of her feelings toward our king. I also understood them, because I felt the same way. She spoke this time gently and with care. There is much I obviously need to learn about you, Issei. Forgive my earlier actions. I look forward to working with you in the future. I beg of you to do your utmost to make sure no harm comes to Lady Gabrielle. I thought for a moment on her meaning when she said harm. With the slightest of gestures, Gabrielle released me and I took a bowing position lower to Grisela, not merely to be seen by her, but to make sure she understood my feelings toward her and her feelings. It took her a moment to register what I had done and to look upon me. For the rest of my life, I will do all I can to secure Lady Gabrielle's safety and happiness. This I promise you. Thank you for loving our king so much. I respectfully gave her my thoughts. Regardless of position in the cards, she was my superior as an angel in my mind, and I would treat her with the respect she deserved. A final nod was all she gave me before departing the common room. Gabrielle once again linked arms with me, and in a flash, we were gone. Huo General Hospital. I guess people of the church come and go from hospitals on a regular basis for all sorts of reasons, because even though people saw and acknowledged us, no one as much as questioned where we were going or what we were doing there. Gabrielle, do you know where we're going? I asked, unsure myself, having never been given a room number. She smiled her loving smile at me. Of course, how could I have answered your prayer otherwise? My prayer, I thought aloud. Don't you remember, she asked me, as you were dying you requested that she be cared for and watched after. I have made sure constant vigil was kept over her since then. I continued to walk with Lady Gabrielle through the halls, my head downcast so that my hair might slightly cast a shadow over my eyes, tears slowly leaking out. Again, Lady Gabrielle had taken care of me in ways that I wasn't even aware of. Just how wonderful could one person be? She must have been aware of my thoughts because began to hold more tightly against me as we continued down the halls. Here we are, Gabrielle said to me as we stood in front of a door to a rather expensive-looking private suite. How? There is no way we can afford something like this. I couldn't begin to understand how this came about. My cute Issei. When I take care of someone, I take the absolute best care possible. And nothing but the best would do for my joker's mother. Now, don't you think you should go inside? Standing here in front of the door, somehow going inside had yet to cross my mind. Slowly I reached for the doorknob. My hand rested on the cool metal surface, but I hesitated. I had wanted nothing more than to see my mother ever since I'd woken up and heard she was okay. Now that I was here, I couldn't move. She was mere feet away from me and I couldn't move. A deathly chill had gripped my body. I think I might have stayed that way forever had a warm hand not taken hold of mine. Gabrielle held my hand there. She didn't make me turn the handle, just held my hand there on the door handle, offering her comfort and support. You didn't do anything wrong, Issei, she whispered into my ear, but behind that door is a woman who loves and wants to see you very much. How long will you make her wait? She was right and I knew it. Finally her words gave me the courage I needed as I slowly proceeded into the room. The pale light illuminated the hospital walls. The curtains had been drawn for her comfort, I guess. The TV was turned off and no music was playing. After the door closed, the only sound was the cadence of the machines and wild beating of my heart. I slowly approached the bed, expecting the worst. What I found eased my most terrible nightmares. There lay my mother, as beautiful as any day. No bruising or scarring, which wouldn't have surprised me considering how I'd seen her last. I hesitated only a moment before reaching out and taking her hand as she lay there sleeping. Her eyes fluttered a moment as she took me in. Her mouth spread wide into a grin and her hand gripped my own with a strength that made me feel much better. My boy, my Issei, you're here, she said so simply and yet with such warmth in her words. I smiled at her, my eyes filled with tears. Yeah, Mom, I'm here. I've become such a crybaby though, Mom. Oh my boy, my mother said to me as she held her arms out, and I leaned in to let her embrace me. I am, as always, so proud of the man you are becoming. It was then that she seemed to register the other presence in the room. Oh, and who is this? Do you work with Sister Griselda? Immediately once she said the name I looked towards my lady. Why yes, I am one of the heads of our organization. I found poor Issei here after the incident. We were contacted by the police and I personally went out to aid him in his time of grief. He is a marvelous young man, you should be very proud. My mother smiled one of her 100-watt smiles back at Lady Gabrielle. Oh, I am. Thank you for looking after him and all of this. I don't know how I could ever repay you. Lady Gabrielle merely shook her head. Think nothing of it. Too much evil happens in this world and I am only too glad to be able to help with a small portion of it. I only wish we could have done something before all of this vileness came to pass. My mother merely nodded as we all sat in silence for a moment. I knew this was my chance to prepare my mom a bit for what was to come. I would have to lie, and I hated that, but it was for the best. Hey Mom, I spoke up. The mission that Sister Gabrielle here is involved with does a lot to help people all over the world. I've decided that working with them and helping others who have suffered you and I is something I want to be involved with. I want to do something good in this world, Mom. This time it was my mom whose eyes welled up with tears. My boy, off to save the world. I never really expected anything less though. You wouldn't be my Issei if you weren't trying to do some good somewhere. But does that mean you are leaving home? What about school? I was about to try and make something up when Gabriel stepped in. Oh, nothing of the sort. He will still live at home and finish his education, however much he deems necessary. He will, however, have some stays with us and we will occupy most of his weekends. I'm sorry to take so much of his time away from you, but this is a big commitment and he will have much to do. I was too shocked to say anything. I was sure I'd have to live in heaven and have to say goodbye to my mother here, only able to visit her on rare occasion. I couldn't exactly let her in on my secret. Well, that is wonderful to hear. I thought I was going to lose you. Issei, you do whatever makes you happy. That's all I've ever wished for you, her words again filled with such joy. I looked between the two women. The most important women in my life. Women I would die for, but maybe more importantly, women I wanted to live for. I'm sorry, I looked down as I felt the all too familiar wetness in my eyes. I swear I won't keep this up, but is it okay if I cry just one last time? It was a stupid question to be sure, but the only one I could think to ask. How had I gone from having nothing to having it all? As I sat there and wept, I found myself enveloped in the warm embrace of these two very important people. We stayed for almost an hour before Gabrielle suggested we leave to let her rest. We spoke with a doctor outside and found that she had made a startling recovery in a very short amount of time. I had looked at Gabrielle out of the corner of my eyes during this and found her not showing a hint of surprise. Everyone we spoke to around here seemed to treat Lady Gabrielle like the angel she was. Far more must be at work here than I am aware of. Roughly a half hour later I found myself back in first heaven. Looking at the Hearts building, I stopped and let out a gentle sigh. Gabrielle took only a few more steps in front of me before stopping and turning to me. What is it, my joker? I let another contented sigh and smiled at her. Home. My attention was torn from the building when Lady Gabrielle broke into a fit of giggles. What's so funny? She calmed herself and wiped a tear from her eye. Nothing funny, it's just, I was so happy to hear you call this your home. Then she spun around and gave me a kiss on the cheek before standing in the doorway with arms open wide. Welcome home, Issei. There was, after all, only one thing I could think to say. I'm home. It had been 2 weeks since I had started my new life. The school had been notified that due to an extreme circumstance that I would be taking some time off. I don't even want to imagine what kind of rumors are going around about me right now. I am ready to get back to my human life. I love it here in heaven, but as always I'm starting to get the feeling that I don't belong. As the new Joker here in heaven, it turns out that I'm kind of a big deal, and I guess that makes my issues stick out like a sore thumb. Turns out there are a certain set of rules for reviving a person as a brave saint. And wouldn't you know it, I break all of them, or both of them rather, as there are only 2 rules. First off is that you be an exorcist or at least someone highly ranked in the church who has done something important. The rule may seem odd, but it is rather obvious. As an angel, we may at any time be tasked with defending heaven, third heaven in particular. The second rule, and the one that is probably the kicker for most people here, is that you must be part of the church, at least baptized. Sure, I believed before I died, or came really close to believing anyways. That's not really enough though, and as soon as word got out about that, everyone started asking why I was reincarnated, and well, that led to a very unpleasant conversation. 1 week prior, after hours of searching, I finally found the person I was looking for, Lady Gabrielle. As regal as ever, Lady Gabrielle stood in a pavilion in first heaven. It seemed she was addressing some angels whom I was not familiar with. As she turned to face me, she wore the same kind and loving expression I've come so accustomed to seeing on her face. Then, as always, when she notices me, she began to smile from ear to ear. Running up to them, I gave a quick bow and went to address Lady Gabrielle. One of the two men faced me and they both bowed. "Ah, you must be the Joker, Issei. It is an honor to make your acquaintance." This was making me as uncomfortable as ever. "The honor is mine. If the two of you will excuse us," the other man said, and the two proceeded to fly away. Lady Gabrielle watched as they flew away before turning her full attention to me. "And what can I do for my handsome Joker today?" I fidgeted, a tad uncomfortable. It wasn't as though I had done anything wrong and I meant no harm, but somehow wanting to question Lady Gabrielle about something made me feel bad. It was as though I didn't trust her full when in fact I do. I just need to understand what's going on. I bowed my head low before speaking. "Gabrielle, please forgive my rudeness, but I must ask, why did you save me? I am not exactly what you'd call brave saint material. There is nothing special about me. I am very grateful, so please don't misunderstand, but as I've come to learn more about heaven, everyone is asking me questions I don't have answers to. Why was I saved? Why did you use the Joker card? And why was I reborn with 4 wings?" I clenched my teeth and balled my fists, fully expecting the blow that was sure to come. I was asking questions that were probably far beyond my station. Even I understood that the wisdom of someone like Gabrielle was far beyond me. To actually question her was worthy of punishment, but I couldn't help myself, so I prepared for the worst. A sudden gasp above me caused me to jerk. I slowly raised my head. Inch by inch my eyes scanned up Lady Gabrielle until finally I gazed upon her face. What I saw in that moment made me feel as bad as anything had in my entire life. Lady Gabrielle's eyes were wet with tears. I knew whatever I had done wrong had been extreme, so I fell to my knees and put my head to the ground. "Please, my lady, forgive me," I begged her. "Please punish me in whatever manner you see fit." After a few rustling noises, I came to find a new pressure on my back. I thought perhaps it was the beginning of my punishment until I felt a slight shake and heard her crying. Opening my eyes and looking around, I found that my lady had knelt down and was now draped over me. Her arms wrapped around my torso as her head lay on my back. Honestly, I didn't know exactly what to feel at that moment. After a few minutes had passed, I managed a few words. "My lady, you shouldn't be on your knees. Please rise. I am not worth this." That was when she released her grip on me and started to pound her fists into my back. It didn't feel like she was really trying to hurt me though. She just pounded her hands against me in what seemed like frustration. "Idiot," she yelled. "Issei, you're such an idiot." I raised my body up until we were both kneeling upright and facing one another. She had stopped crying, but her eyes were still filled with tears. I wouldn't exactly call the expression on her face mad, more like upset or frustrated. "Did you really think I was going to hit you?" she asked me in earnest. I didn't have any response. That's exactly what I thought she'd do. "I really am an idiot. That man, that horrible man, he's the reason you feel this way. There really is a special place in hell for certain people, if he doesn't repent and change his ways, of course." She had to stop here and take a breath. "You're right, Gabrielle, I was being such a fool," I agreed with her to my shame. "Come now, Issei, let's stand, shall we? It wouldn't do for one of the 4 seraphim and one of heaven's great jokers to be seen on their knees now, would it?" At her behest we stood and straightened out her clothing. "When it comes to you, I believe you deserve all the answers you desire. But if you don't mind, I'll answer them in a slightly different way. Would that be all right?" I smiled at her as her usual manner returned. "As you wish, my lady. It was never my intention to suggest anything untoward or that you would hide anything from me. It's just after everything you've done for me, I felt guilty asking anything of you." "Pish posh, my Issei," she replied. "I am only too thrilled to supply you with any answers I can. If you are ever in need of anything, do not hesitate to come to me. After all, you are my Joker." But before we get to you being a Joker, would you kindly follow me?" Gabrielle extended her hand to me, and without hesitation I took it. I believe my lack of hesitation pleased her because she smiled at me. There are many things I want to know, but it's important to me that she knows I trust her implicitly. Then, as always, we were gone in a cross-shaped flash of light. When we re-emerged, I was greeted with a sight that Grisela had introduced me to on my first day in heaven. Well, my first day conscious in heaven. It was third heaven, a home for all of the souls of humans who faithfully believed in the Lord God and led a dutiful life in reverence to that. It stretches far further than the eye can see, and the number of souls here is said to be innumerable. To be honest, the only thing more impressive, or perhaps frightening, was the number of souls that must be in hell then. If it's much easier to fall than rise, I imagine the number below is exponentially larger. To have missed living in such paradise, I can't help but pity them. "I take it you know where we are, Issei?" Gabrielle asked. I continued staring out into the masses. "Of course, my lady, this is third heaven, home to the souls of the faithful, perhaps the most precious place in all of heaven." She again beamed at me. I couldn't have said it better myself, my Joker. "Now, what is the grand mission of heaven, from the newest born angel to the highest of all, Michael?" I pondered for a moment and then it came to me, it's to protect this place, isn't it? Third heaven, I mean. My response awarded me another million-watt smile. Right again, my clever boy. So it's true, when we grant people new life, they must be able to somehow contribute to the mission of heaven. So the blunt answer to why I saved you would be to contribute to the safety of third heaven, but again that is a vague answer at best. So let me ask you a question. Why do you think you have 2 sets of wings? Answering a question with a question. How very camp counselor of her. If I'd have to guess, I'd say it was because of the Joker card you used to revive me. I heard the Joker card symbolized some of heaven's greatest power. That was when she began to wave her finger at me. No, my sweet boy. Wings are a symbol of power. And yes, the Joker card did bless you with power, but all it did was begin to open up your own potential power. My power. Now she'd lost me. That's right. As a human, you did well to constantly train yourself. You were truly a warrior born, and your metal was forged in the fire of your father's wrath. But even that is only a small fraction of your power. I am loath to ask you this, Issei, but do you know why the fallen angel targeted you? Until that point, I had tried to forget that terrible moment. Yet I knew I never would. I still relived it, after all, every night in my dreams. She would seem so sweet and innocent and then turn vile and kill me, again and again. I remember asking her why, I said, but honestly I don't remember much. I was in bad shape at that moment. My mind was not all there. I do recall her saying something about a gear, a sacred gear, I think. Bingo! Gabriel exclaimed. Now here is the answer to a great many of your questions. It is why I could revive you without you meeting some of the usual qualifications, why you have 2 sets of wings, and why I used the Joker card on you. Sacred gears are tools created by God and given to very special humans. There are actually hundreds of sacred gears out there. Their uses are as varied as their number, but you, me dear, are special. At that, I slightly cocked my head in confusion. How so, my lady? Her expression momentarily soured and she stayed quiet, waiting for me to correct myself. How so, Gabriel? Such a simple thing, and yet her smile came back full force. I do love hearing you say my name. On to the matter at hand, though. The top 10 sacred gears are known as the Longinus. The Longinus are all weapons of incredible power capable of fantastic things. We have discerned that yours specifically is known as the boosted gear. Boosted gear? Yes, she replied. The boosted gear houses the spirit of a great dragon, the Welsh dragon Ddraig. Ddraig, along with his eternal rival, another dragon, tore through all 3 realms during the great war between angels, fallen angels, and demons. These 2 selfish dragons fought one another, and in their wake caused countless casualties on both sides. In a temporary truce, the 3 factions aligned with one another to bring down the 2 great beasts, and it was from there that God sealed them in the sacred gears. Wow, that's amazing. I couldn't begin to believe that I held something with that much power. So what does that really mean? Oh, you bad boy. Her smile turned into more of a mischievous grin. You just want all my secrets. Well, I'll tell you whatever you wish, just don't ask my measurements, you foo. I knew I was being teased, but that didn't stop me from blushing. Gabriel, please. Fine, I'll tell you them if you really must know, she continued. No, I started panicking, trying to covering my eyes and ears simultaneously, not knowing which to block out. I just meant about the sacred gear. With a small pout on her face, she continued, well, fine, but if you really want to know, all you have to do is ask. Where was I? Oh yes, your sacred gear has the ability to boost your power by double every 10 seconds. It is said that the wielder of this sacred gear could even kill a god. This is one of those moments in life where you can only say one thing, wow. Her smile was gentle and thoughtful, but lacking its usual exuberance, which told me immediately something was wrong. There was something else she needed to tell me. Perhaps another reason she brought me here. Try as I might, though, I couldn't come up with anything. As she leaned against the railing looking out over third heaven, I gently reached out and put my hand on hers. Gabriel, I would never do anything to harm you or heaven in any way with this power. Silly boy, she said gently as she turned her gaze to me. Of that, I have no doubt. You seem to be able to sense my discomfort, and you are correct in that assertion. Though my issue has nothing to do with you per se, but something I must tell you. Something you have a right to know as a Joker of heaven. There were many casualties of the great war, Issei, and among them were the original 4 Satans of hell. And God. Silently I listened as she got whatever she needed to say off of her chest when her last words finally resounded within me. Wait a second. God is dead. God of the Bible, the Lord of the entire place. If that's true, then how is any of this still possible? I forced myself to remain calm, but at the same time, I was riddled with questions. Quietly I tried to put the pieces together, but try as I might, I was at a crossroads. Too many things I couldn't understand. All I could do was wait patiently as Lady Gabrielle finished her explanation. With a breath, she finally continued, yes, our great father perished. We have done our best to keep things operational, but to be honest, things could be better. Michael stays at the helm of things to ensure that the system God put in place keeps running. Because of him, miracles still occur, blessings still work, and the same could be said for exorcisms. We obviously can't tell people this, though. Think about what it would do to the faithful. I would like to believe they could handle it, but please understand that it's just a risk we can't take. Whatever she was going to say ended as I wrapped my arms around her waist from behind her, causing the words to die on her lips. She had lost herself in the explanation. It was rough for me to hear, but she was his daughter, a direct child of the Almighty. My mother was beaten and it almost killed me. Her father died fighting for all creation. I knew my suffering couldn't compare to the pain she must have gone through and is probably still going through. I'm sorry to make you talk about something so painful. It wasn't going to be much, but I had to do my best to comfort her. I know it can't be easy for you, but thank you for trusting me with this. I promise you I will use whatever power I have to protect this precious gift God left. I can't imagine how you feel, but if anything I can do can help alleviate your loneliness, please don't hesitate to ask. I felt her hands on top of mine and we stood for a while like that. We gazed out over the wonder that was third heaven. I could only hope that she took some comfort in my touch as we lingered. All too soon I knew it would be time to go and she would have to return to being Lady Gabrielle and I the Joker. But right now at least we could be a woman who was hurting and a man who wanted to be there for her. Perhaps man is giving me a tad too much credit, but hey, I'm getting there. Eventually, she turned to me. I've come to identify Gabrielle's mood by her smile, but to be honest, this one was new to me. There was love there, no doubt about that, but it was beyond what I was used to. Perhaps I had been able to become more important to her, and truly, there was nothing more I could hope for. Her hands reached out and held my face while leaning in and kissing my forehead. Thank you, my Issei. You could never know what that meant to me. Here I was trying to comfort you and you turned it around on me. You always put others first, don't you? Please never doubt if you belong here, my boy. I have never met another soul who more belongs in heaven. Oh, my sweet boy. Present. Yeah, it was an unpleasant conversation, but one that had to be had. I've even felt closer to Lady Gabrielle since then. She occasionally comes by my room in the House of Hearts. We talk and I find that with each passing day I feel even more connected to her. At first, I thought it was similar to the way I felt about my mother. But for every similarity, there is a difference. For whatever it is though, I am grateful. I am now prepared for dangers that I could never have faced before. Every day I have trained with Grisela in the combat. I had thought I was a decent swordsman. I have learned otherwise. Compared to the level Grisela fights at, I am still a novice, but at the level I once was compared to now, I was just playing with sticks. I have also learned to wield light weapons, similar to the one used to end my life. Ironic, isn't it? I have yet to unlock my sacred gear, but Gabrielle and Grisela assure me that it will come in time. Grisela and I have become much closer. I have started having dreams though. Strange and bizarre dreams where I am surrounded by powerful flames. There is a massive beast there cast in shadows. It speaks to me and yet I cannot hear its voice. I can only imagine it is not yet the time. The only other heart card that Gabrielle currently has is the Ace, a woman by the name of Marana. I have yet to meet her, but it seems that Grisela dreads the day I do. Apparently, Marana has a habit of teasing people. I have chosen to stay with the rest of the hearts even though there are special quarters for the jokers. It is nice enough, but I feel at home here with the hearts, and I also feel that Gabrielle might be sad if I were gone. And even though she may miss me in the human world, I would never leave her side whilst in heaven. Even as I find myself feeling more at home, I know that I have another to return to. A life beyond the hallowed gates of heaven, and while I am sad that I never got to meet the other Joker, my life outside the gates beckons me. A life full of humans, demons, and fallen angels. A life full of school and people who don't want me. A life with my mother. Well, that was certainly one of the most stressful meetings of my life. Lady Gabrielle and I stood in the middle of the park where I was killed not so long ago, not helping. Facing two of the lords of hell, not helping. To top it all off, the shorter of the two, who happened to be in cosplay, was glaring at me, and that was definitely not helping. Gabrielle stepped forward to welcome the two. Greetings, Lord Surzech Lucifer and Lady Seraphal Leviathan. I am glad to see you well. This is the child that I spoke to you about, Issei Hayaudu. He is the new Joker of Heaven. He was reincarnated a few weeks ago. If he seems to be slightly uncomfortable, that's likely because his life was ended just by that fountain. I know this is your younger sister's territory, Lord Lucifer, but his mother lives here and she is his only living relation. His father, who is currently in prison, is a detestable man who I, were I not a better person, would wish that he finds himself in your company sooner rather than later. The crimson-haired, elegant, somehow familiar-looking man Gabrielle referred to as Lucifer replied, Greetings to you, Lady Gabrielle. It is a rare treat to see the most beautiful woman in heaven. The four Satans and I have reached a conclusion that he be allowed to live and attend school here. I hope that this will go great lengths toward the peace we wish to establish. That was the moment when the other devil finally stepped forward. You may be all right with the Surzech, but I certainly am not. What if he tries to harm my dear Sona? I would have to bring my entire might down upon heaven. The Crimson Lord turned towards her. Seraphal, we have already talked at great lengths about this. None of the other lords agreed with your claims. He shall be allowed to attend school here. Please, young man, step forward so that I may address you appropriately. I looked dead at the man and gave a slight bow. I realized that I had been halfway hiding behind Lady Gabrielle like a 4-year-old meeting someone new for the first time, but I don't care. I am trying my hardest not to be unnerved. Greetings, Lord Lucifer, I am Issei Hayaudu. Greetings, Issei, I am happy to meet you. Please do take care here. Our sisters actually attend school with you. Perhaps you know them, Riaz Gremory and Sona Citri, Surzech replied. Of course, I answered in perhaps a somewhat surprised tone. I happen to think that Riaz is a wonderful person. She has always treated me kindly on the few interactions that I have had with her. My best friend Kiba is actually in her club in school. They have invited me to join, but I have been reluctant. My life has been rather hectic, and Sona is our student council president. She has done a marvelous job running the school in my opinion. Suddenly Lady Leviathan jumped in front of me. Don't go getting any ideas about my Sona. If you so much as touch her, I'll. The last thing I wanted to do was interrupt a devil king, but this woman wasn't just any devil. This had been the first time I'd gotten a good look at her. At first, she had been blocked a bit by Gabriel, and then the dark had served to conceal her well enough, especially with most of my attention on Lord Lucifer. But with that outfit and that face, it just had to be her. Holy crap, you are magical girl Levia, I blurted out. Immediately her hostility dissipated. Your magical girl Levia, I repeated in haste. I don't watch much TV or go to the movies often, but last summer I saw your movie with some girls from the Kendo Club. I thought I'd be bored out of my mind, but it was amazing. The special effects seemed so real and you were so cool. Sure, I was milking it a bit, but my initial accidental outburst had totally undone her hostility. I guess I was banking on a devil's vanity at this point. Not a terrible assumption if you ask me, and it seemed to be working. You're a fan. She seemed to have forgotten all about her problem with me and was hopping with excitement. Well, that changes everything. Tell me what part you like best. There is a sequel coming out soon, you know. I just love meeting fans. Both Lord Lucifer and Lady Gabriel looked a bit perplexed, but it was Serzech who decided to make a comment. So you withdraw your complaint about him attending school here. This made Seraphal hesitate for a moment before making a magical girl pose from her movie. Of course. No fan of mine could ever be a bad guy. You'll take good care of my Sona, won't you, my funny angel? Funny angel? I asked. Of course, she replied. You're a joker, aren't you? So you must be funny. Her logic had everyone in attendance deadpanned. Well, regardless, I promise that I shall do my utmost to keep your sisters from any and all harm, my lord and lady. See, Serzech, I told you he was a good boy. Seraphal patted my head and then handed me a piece of paper before backing away. Too bad, my rival. It seems that your newest joker has good taste. Lady Gabriel shook her head while I remained confused. I'm sorry, Seraphal, but I still don't see you as a rival in any way. Well, goodbye now, my number one fan. Until next time, say hi to Sona for me. Then with a flourish from Seraphal and a bow from Serzech, they were gone in a magic circle. Lady Gabriel gave me a strange look. I wasn't aware you were such a fan of hers. I gave a slight chuckle. Well, it was a good movie. But at first, it was just my surprise that caused my outburst. I never expected a Lord of Hell to be a movie star. But after seeing her initial reaction, I played on her vanity. I guess you could say I have the devil's own luck. Lady Gabriel tried to suppress her giggle, but it seeped out. Oh, Issei, that was terrible. Well, what is it she gave you? Holding up the paper in my hand, I revealed it to be a shot of her from her movie. It's an autograph. The Monday following, Gabriel had given me the weekend off to spend with my mom. The few days catching up with her were amazing. Neither of us had to hold back and we just had fun. We spent the entire fishing fund on a weekend of frivolity for just the two of us. Though we didn't do any fishing, both of us took turns picking activities. We had both decided to go shopping and pick out a few new outfits. I was really embarrassed to be sitting outside the changing rooms waiting for my mom to try on things. One sleeveless black dress with a flowing bottom looked especially nice, and I insisted she buy it, much to her own embarrassment. Mom forced me to buy a few things she dubbed date clothes, and I had little say in the matter. We had played at an arcade, where Mom teased me about girls watching when I was playing Dance Revolution. I had been able to tease her for almost the exact same reason several minutes later. She had even made me go to a salon where we got new haircuts and pedicures. I got a light trim while Mom got a few inches taken off, making her look a little less housewife and a little more modern woman. But the fun was over, and today I am back at school. I wasn't sure whether I was more looking forward to school or dreading it. But Mom was getting back out into the working world today, having previously been forbidden to work by he who is now known as Slime, and left with me looking confident in her new business attire she'd bought that weekend. So I couldn't let her down. To start the day, as usual, I approached the kendo room early, hoping that a few morning drills would prepare me for the day. Using the wooden sword felt almost awkward in my hand for a moment. I had gotten so used to manifesting light weapons or using metal swords in practical training against Griselda. It was so light it felt almost like a child's toy. Still, I decided to take it seriously and flowed through the motions with swift yet deadly execution. Almost like deja vu, I felt something collide with my sword as I performed my kata. Opening my eyes, I was overwhelmed with a sense of joy. Kiba. Immediately he dropped his sword and hugged me. Issei, I'm so happy to see you alive, my friend. As happy as I was to see my friend, something felt terribly wrong. Kiba, this feeling. Are you a devil? Kiba's face turned a bit as he looked around to make sure no one else was around, and then expanded two black devil wings. Yes, Issei. You are an angel now, right? I can sense it as well. Are you happy? I smiled at him. Yes, I'm very happy. What about you though? How did this happen? With a sigh of relief, his princely smile returned. I'm glad to hear that. It seems that I made the right choice. But now isn't the time to talk about these things. After school, okay. I nodded and he walked off. That was when I realized what time it was. I had to go get ready. A quick shower and then I was off to face the rest of the day. The day proceeded like normal for the most part, with only a few exceptions. First off, when I came to my desk, I found it overflowing with notes and the like from well-wishers. I was overwhelmed by the concern. I had expected snickering and people to be whispering behind my back, but they all seemed so concerned and genuinely happy that I was back. I'd even overheard a few of the girls giggling that their knight had returned. 2 girls I vaguely knew actually went so far as to give me a hug. Heck, even our class perverts didn't have anything negative to say. Second period was English class. It seemed as an added bonus of being an angel I could now understand any language. It felt as though I was cheating, as now reading and writing the language had become second nature. After calling the teacher out twice on mistakes and receiving some dirty looks, I learned to keep my mouth shut. The last surprise came just after lunch when the student council vice president showed up at the door. Issei Hayatu, the student council would like to have a word with you, please. Vice President Sabaki called out to me. Her long dark hair, ample bosom, and features would have been enough, but with her serious yet elegant demeanor, she was loved by both guys and girls alike. She has always struck me as some odd mix between librarian and detention teacher. It works for her though. Of course, Vice President, at once, I replied. We didn't speak as I followed her, staying just a half step behind her to respect her position. I could sense the tension in her and wanted to help, so I reached out and gently placed a hand on her shoulder. Unfortunately, that caused her to jump 2 feet in the air and squeal like a startled squirrel. With a crimson mask on her face, she turned to look at me. I did my best to emulate one of Gabrielle's loving smiles. It actually seemed to work, as she suddenly relaxed and smiled back at me before carrying on. She slid the door open and, turning towards me, gave a slight bow. Please enter. As requested, I entered and took a seat. The entire student council was present. What I wasn't expecting, however, was that Riaz was also present. I gave her a small smile, which she reciprocated before returning to her serious expression, letting me know things were all business for now. The student council room was like most in the school. All oak hardwood flooring and pale gray walls. The only exceptional thing was the large table for the student council meetings and the president's desk, which, if I'm not mistaken, is larger than the one the principal of the school has. A few couches in the front for guests and small coffee table. I have come as requested, but seeing as Riaz is here, can I assume that this is not actually a school matter? It seemed only too obvious. Sona frowned, obviously not pleased that her intentions had been seen through so quickly. Indeed, Issei. We would like to know where you have been these past weeks. Riaz has informed me a bit of what has transpired, but I'd like to hear your side. So I told my story, starting with the morning my mom gave me the $100 and ending here. They sat with fevered attention, hanging on my every word. Sona seemed intrigued by the story, but as soon as I got to Yuma and then my death, I could see the pain etched on her face. She felt guilty for what had come to pass. Riaz, I addressed her as I finished my explanation, I'm not mad at you. I have since learned the rules of exposing our worlds to a human. You tried to help me the only way you could, but I couldn't accept it. Thanks for trying, and I mean that sincerely. She smiled at me then. I cannot tell you how much better that makes me feel. Perhaps you truly were meant to be an angel. You are certainly forgiving enough. That being said, I would have loved to have you as part of my peerage. I've always sensed something special about you, Issei, and I'm not just referring to your power. Forgive me for being so forward, but I feel drawn to you. Devil or not, now that you are part of our world, I intend to explore this. Riaz, I'm not sure what to say, I answered honestly. Sona, who had been listening patiently, spoke up. Riaz, is now really the time? Can't your flirting wait until later? Besides that, if this is your attempt to break things with Razor, I believe. Sona didn't get to finish that thought as Riaz shouted at her, Sona, I would not be so disrespectful as to use him in such a manner. My heart broke when I watched Gabriel take him, but I am far from being so shameful of a woman. Angel or not, I still don't intend this to be the end. I will handle the matter with Razor. Please do not insult me again with such insinuations. That was the first time I ever saw a look on Sona's face that was anything but straight-laced. She had seriously offended Riaz, and she knew it. She looked embarrassed. Perhaps this is where I should take my leave, I suggested. However, I will drop by the Orc this afternoon if that's okay, Riaz. I have a few questions in Kiba and I need to have a talk. Riaz gave me a gentle smile. Of course, I look forward to it. As I walked out, I turned to Sona and said one more thing. Oh, and Sona, your sister sends her regards. I smirked as a fierce blush passed over her face and I returned to my classroom, or clubroom. It had been the best day of school that I could ever remember. Everything seemed to go right and everyone was so happy to see me back. I was trying to stay positive like Gabriel told me, but honestly, I was just waiting for the other shoe to drop. Entering the club room, I found them all waiting for me. Everyone where they had been when I last ran out the door. The only difference being this time Akino was already serving tea and Riaz seemed to be fussing with her hair. So am I late or early? I asked jovially. I was met with several excited greetings at once. Issei, my friend. Hey, that last one was Kaneko. But I'd call that real progress for us. She addressed me before I directly spoke to her. Kiba walked right up and hugged me again. I could tell he had been worried. And to be honest, I felt really guilty about how I'd left things between us. So before anything else, I figured I should clear that up. Kiba, before we go any further, I want to apologize. You really are my best friend and I trust you. If you could have, I'm sure you would have told me what was going on. It's just with everything that was happening, I wasn't thinking clearly. Please forgive me, my friend. I bowed slightly with that. Kiba just hugged me again. There's nothing to forgive, my friend. And just like that, things were good between us again. So let's get the rest of this out of the way, I insisted. From what everyone is saying, I'm assuming there is more to the story from the moment I died and when I woke up in heaven. Tiba looked down embarrassed, but I placed a comforting hand on his shoulder, giving him my support. Lady Gabrielle was not the first one on the scene as you died. I was. That was news to me, and I couldn't keep the surprised look off my face as he continued. You see, I found you there bleeding out. Sorrow had filled my entire being. My first thought was to summon Riaz and have her bring you back like me, as one of her peerage, though that would have made you a devil. At the time I was willing to do whatever it took to save your life. However, just as I went to summon Riaz, that's when Gabrielle appeared. She heard your prayer, Issei, and she told me about it. You never had really felt like you belonged with us, Issei, and I couldn't help but feel like maybe that's because we're devils. Lady Gabrielle left the choice up to me as to whether let Riaz and I take you or to leave you with her. It was the second hardest decision I've ever made. I chose to let her take you. I thought you'd be happier there. I hope I was right. Tiba's voice had broken several times recounting that night. I can't help but wonder what the hardest decision he's ever made was, but I think I'll let that go for now. I can't imagine how I'd have reacted in that situation, or how he must have felt when he let Gabrielle take me. Now it was my turn to hug him. My friend, I hope I never have to make such choices. I can't imagine what life would have been like as a devil, but I can tell you that I am very happy as an angel. Thank you for giving this to me. I did my best to reassure him. A few tears left his eyes as he resumed his post at the door. I turned to Riaz to address my second bit of business there. Now on to other business. I'd like to join the orc. A few gasps filled the room, but they were cut short by a burning magic circle that had just shown up. Without even knowing what would happen next, I had a gut feeling about this moment, so this is the other shoe, huh? Now Riaz, it's time for you to come to the underworld. It is time to officially announce our engagement. A blond man with black highlights appeared from the circle. The man held himself in a way that screamed arrogance. His red blazer with a white shirt and black pants were all somewhat disheveled, nothing tucked in or worn neatly. He kept his chin high and his shirt unbuttoned halfway. Whoever this man was trying to impress, we obviously were not his target audience. He proceeded to walk forward and reach out to Riaz. I felt somewhat disgusted as he placed his hands on her in an all too familiar fashion. She was obviously displeased as she stepped away from him. How many times do I have to tell you, Riaz? I don't care who has said what. I will not marry you. You are the most loathsome man I have ever encountered. I don't care if we were the last two devils in existence, I would rather we go extinct before I marry you, she rebuked him. The man she called Razor looked offended but not deterred. Razor will get what Razor wants, even if Razor has to roast the rest of your peerage to ashes to get it. All of Riaz's peerage drew their weapons or exuded an aura of hostility against him. I, for my part, was doing my very best to not get involved. That was until Razor snapped his fingers. Fire erupted all around the room. Using my aura that I'd been learning as a natural defense, I could keep it at bay. I hate to admit it, but for him to exude such power without even seemingly using magic was impressive. A flame seemed to spring forth from his very presence. It makes me wonder how powerful he is. It seemed like Akino was fine as well. Tiba and Kaneko, however, were not so fortunate. They batted at the flames, but they just grew larger on their arms and legs. Enough. Against my better judgment, or for lack of it, I expanded my 4 wings and doused all of the flames with my light magic. Everyone in the room shunned away a bit, but I cooled it off as soon as the fire went out. You have set foot where you are obviously not welcome. As an angel of heaven, I request you leave at once. No man should be so disrespectful of women, especially not his betrothed, I commanded. Razor had no way of knowing about my pet peeve when it came to the treatment of women, so he continued to dig his own grave. You consort with angels now, Riaz. My, how you dirty the name of the Gremory family. And you, boy, I will treat my women how I like. Riaz shall become my trophy, and after we wed and I take her, I shall do what I wish with her or whatever woman I desire. I am a high-class devil, swine. You're a high-class devil pig. No point in rising to his bait, so I decided to take control of the conversation. That doesn't sound special. What's powerful about devil pigs? Sounds tasty, actually. No, you. I mean, I'm no pig, fool. His whole rant ended up being some kind of yell stutter. I never called you a foolish pig, just a devil pig. Excuse me, a high-class devil pig, I corrected him. You damned angel. I'll fry you. Razor raised a fist, but suddenly another presence entered the room. Suddenly a woman with beautiful silver hair and a maid costume stepped forward. Lord Razor, I believe that is enough. Does the House of Phoenix wish to be responsible for a war with heaven? Of course not. He shrugged, quelling his anger. If the ultimate queen requests it, I have no choice but to agree. Whoever this woman was at that moment, I understood that she commanded fierce respect. Turning to me, she bowed. Forgive the sudden intrusion. Lord Surzech, Lucifer tells me that you are the Red Dragon Emperor, Issei Hayatu, Joker of Heaven. Great. She had to go and use the full title. Yes, that is correct, and you are. She drops into a low curtsy. I am a maid of the Gremory house. My name is Grafia. It is a pleasure. No, I bowed in return. The pleasure is all mine. Issei Hayatu, she continued. Lord Surzech has a proposal for you. I tilted my head slightly. If so, then I would hear it. She smiled lightly. In an attempt to further the peace between heaven and hell, we propose to have a rating game. We still have to get approval from heaven, of course, but we thought it would be of great interest for a sparring match between the Great Phoenix and Heavenly Dragon. If you are victorious, he is prepared to grant you one wish. Lord Lucifer was as clever as he was wise. He knew that after seeing this situation I would want to help Rias, and he was right. With that wish, I could free her from this in any future arranged marriage. Truthfully, though, I think that any attempt to garner goodwill between the three factions should be taken. I accept. Rias then jumped forward. Wait for a second here, Issei. I don't need others fighting my battles for me. Razor then stepped in. Come now, Rias. He is a grown man. Let him make decisions for himself. Fear not, Rias, I assured her. This is all the further peace after all. Grafia bowed. Lord Lucifer will be most pleased to hear this. I shall return to inform him at once. After the details are worked out in heaven, we shall have our match. Usually this is done between peerages, but in this case, we will do one-on-one. If all works out, we plan to have our match in 3 weeks. Lord Razor, shall we? As you say. Until next time, my Rias, I wait until the day when I make your body mine, he said as he warped away. Kiba, who had cleaned himself off a bit, touched my shoulder. Do you think you can put those away now? I hadn't realized that I'd had my wings out all that time. Sorry about that. Rias stepped forward, her face uncertain, but she hugged me. You fool. How could you do this? You don't owe me anything. After I failed to save your life, you still go this far for me. Maybe it was denying the truth. Maybe she knew that. But I wasn't going to let her carry this weight on her shoulders. Nevertheless, I gladly returned the hug. Rias, I said, causing her to retreat from me slightly, this is all for peace, remember. Don't feel like I'm doing this for you. Admittedly, I don't like him, but that's about how he treats women, you see, nothing to do with you. Rias looked on at me unconvinced. So what will you wish for if you win? Oh, well, crap, she caught me. Angels aren't selfish, you see. So it would be best if I made a wish for someone else. So seeing how upset this marriage made you, then I'd wish for you to be kept from an arranged marriage and to let you pick your own future husband. Love isn't something people should be forced into after all. She embraced me again quickly and gave me a peck on the cheek and whispered into my ear, I've learned enough about you to know one thing. If it was just a random wish for anyone, you'd wish something for your mother. I know you are doing this for me. A blush crept across my face. I couldn't deny it anymore. Still, she looked worried. Issei, Razor is not weak. I am impressed by your 4 wings and display of power there, but I don't know if you can win. For all his foolishness, he still has the power of the immortal Phoenix. He has never lost a match. I looked at my hands. As I am right now, I doubt I can win. Then what will you do? She exclaimed. I smirked in response. Time for some training. With a small wave, I disappeared in a cross of light, informing Lord Michael about things. Easy. Taking another week off school for training, unpleasant but doable. Telling all of this to Grysla and asking for help with training. Oh crap. You did what? She shouted for the 12th time. I sighed, having to repeat myself again. During a meeting with the daughter of Surzech, Lucifer and her peerage, a man showed up named Razor. He started acting like a royal prick and almost molesting Rias, who he claims is his fiancée. I just couldn't take it, and then attack everyone in the room, so that's when I acted. Shortly after, a woman by the name of Grafia entered, the queen of Lord Surzech, and informed me that he proposed a rating game where Razor and I would fight. If I win, I am to be granted a wish. As I am, I do not believe I can win, so I need your help. Finally, she sighed, I can't believe you. An angel for less than a month and you're picking fights with devils. Didn't we have a talk about you being on your best behavior? Yes, and didn't you promise me you would? Yes, I did, but, and is this your best behavior? She cut me off while raising her voice. No, but again I didn't finish my sentence as she smacked upside my head. Obviously, Grysla wasn't done though. Do you know how much trouble you caused Lady Gabrielle? All I could do was hang my head now. The last thing I wanted to do was trouble Gabrielle. I couldn't help it though, this was something I have to do. Look, Grysla. Finally I raised my voice to match hers. I know what I'm doing is foolish. I hate that it may trouble Lady Gabrielle, but I can't help it. When I see someone in trouble I act. I can't help it. Please understand that much. So will you train me or not? That was when a sadistic grin crossed Grysla's face, making me regret my decision to ask her for help. Oh, I'll train you, Issei. I'll train you so hard that your match will feel like a merciful break from what I'm going to put you through. Get ready. The training arena in heaven looks sort of like the Colosseum in Rome. A huge arena surrounded by a circular seating amphitheater. The columns and architecture were truly a sight to behold. Unfortunately, I'm a little too busy decorating the dirt arena with my blood to really appreciate it as Grysla knocks me to the ground again with the butt of her sword. Whenever we train, for whatever reason, she likes to use solid weapons and not light magic. She says it makes us stronger. Keep up your guard, Issei, or I'll hit you every time. Grysla scolded me again. The truth was, after the first 8 hours I could barely keep my arms up. Now that we were reaching the 14-hour mark, I could barely keep on my feet. Grysla, however, still looked spry and ready to go. You know, a break would be nice every so often, I whined. Again she lunged at me and I was forced to parry. Do you think the enemy will give you a break? Honestly, I'd lost count of how many times I'd heard that from her. I know that, but we've been at this for about 14 hours. Doesn't that entitle me to a break? You can have a break when you hit me, she shouted at me as she began her next attack, only for it to be caught in midair. Both our eyes suddenly turned to meet Lady Gabrielle. How someone that powerful can just sneak up on me is just creepy. As she stood there, I noticed she wasn't wearing her normal heavenly robes but a professional all-white tracksuit. She had a whistle around her neck and an unusual grin on her face. I think that's quite enough for the moment, Griselda, Gabriel chided her. We don't take our frustrations out on others, do we? No, my lady, Griselda replied sheepishly. Good then, Griselda beamed. Now Issei, take an hour to cool off and then you and I shall begin some special training. Weakly I nodded. The relief from a break poured over me and flopped back on the ground. Lady Gabriel and Griselda looked over my now unconscious body. Griselda, did you train him so hard that the moment he stopped he passed out? Something between her smile and the sound of her voice sent chills down Griselda's spine. Well yes, it would appear so. I think you and I need to have a heart-to-heart about how we treat our juniors, Gabriel with a voice that held little of its usual loving compassion. A few hours later, when I finally came to again, I could tell that the day had waned on a bit. The sun seemed to be a bit lower in the sky and I was still in the arena. I can vaguely recall being told I could take a break and then nothing. I must have fallen asleep while taking a break. I can't believe Griselda let me sleep this long. It wasn't where I was or how I got there that surprised me though, it was that my head was currently resting in Lady Gabriel's lap. Startled, I tried to sit up only for Gabriel to run her fingers through my hair, calming me down. I took a few more deep breaths before finally relaxing in her lap. The gentle aura she exudes enveloping me. Finally awake, I see, she whispered to me. I nodded in reply. Well, good. As much as I enjoyed this, you have much training to do before facing the Phoenix. There are only 2 ways that I'm aware of to beat the immortal bird. The first is to completely dominate it with power. The second is to beat it down mentally and physically. An enemy that has lost the will to fight can no longer use its power, Gabriel explained. I smiled up at her. You know, you shouldn't spoil me so much. I'll get used to it and be insufferable. Oh well, then shall we have a talk about why you are doing this? Her voice remained light, but there was something just beneath the surface of her tone that made me realize I was in dangerous waters. I thought carefully about how to answer that question. It would be a lie to say it isn't for Rias. Just not exactly in the way everyone might be thinking. I won't lie and say that I don't find Rias to be a beautiful woman. Though that wouldn't be enough to get me involved. If you could have seen the look on her face, you'd understand. That man, that garbage, was talking about her like she was an object. Like he owned her. I don't know what devil society is like, but I don't care. She's a woman, and she deserves to be happy. To be able to choose the man who she wants to spend her life with. Don't we all want that? I watched as Gabriel shook her head. You continue to amaze me. So it's not just your mother, but all women. Are you on some crusade for feminism? I knew she was joking, but still, you know that includes you too, right? The surprise was written on her face as she replied, Goodness, the things you say. So what exactly are you going to do for me? That's simple, I replied with my signature smile. Spend the rest of my life making sure you stay happy. What else could I do for the woman who saved my life? Her blush was light, but I'd learned to catch these small reactions from her. I think you've avoided training long enough, Issei. Time to get back to it. I will be training you for now, be ready. Gabriel's training was entirely different from Griselda's. Griselda had beaten combat training into me until the point that all of my reflexes are finely honed. Gabriel, however, was less concerned about that. So far I had not paid much attention to my sacred gear. I knew it was there but had been more focused on my angelic abilities that were readily available. We then spent the next several hours meditating. To know your enemy, one must start by knowing themselves. You, Issei Hayatu, still don't truly know yourself. A power sleeps within you that you must awaken if you are to overcome your current trial. Succeed in this and become the Joker I know you can be. I heard her voice as I feel into my own consciousness. To fall, it is such a quiet thing. An empty darkness that consumes everything. When I looked around I could see nothing. But I could hear something. The first thing was a fire, a burning that I could not define. It sounded like 1,000 bonfires. What came next, however, was far more disturbing. It sounded like metal plates grinding against each other. Hello, I called into the blackness, is anyone there? So boy, after all this time you come here thirsting for my power. This power you seek, what would you do with it? The voice was loud and deep. A great tone carried through the darkness. I am Issei Hayatu. I am a Joker of heaven. I would have your power and use it to protect everyone who is precious to me, I shouted in reply. I've heard it before. Yet all eventually succumb to the hunger. You are never satisfied with a taste. You must always have more. When is it enough? When are you satisfied? There was something to his question. It seemed to answer itself. So what was he looking for if he'd heard all the answers? Let me show you. A deep rumbling sound echoed through the darkness that might have been laughter. Interesting. Very interesting. Actions are what makes a man after all. Show me then. Show me what kind of red dragon emperor you will become. When I truly opened my eyes again I was still sitting in the Colosseum with Gabriel. It felt like maybe minutes had passed but dawn was already breaking on a new day. Gabriel was sitting there smiling at me. Had she just been waiting patiently this whole time? Her smile was brighter than the morning sun. Then I noticed she was pointing down. Upon inspection, I discovered I was covered in a red aura. What is this? I uttered my thoughts aloud. This, she chuckled, is the beginning. Your sacred gear is now becoming attuned with your body and soul. Think hard, Issei. What is power to you? What makes you feel powerful? I held up my left fist and clenched it tight. Power, the ability to defeat any opponent. No, that's wrong. That's just what guys like my father and Razor would think. They equate power with a clenched fist ready to strike, but I'm not like them. Power is freedom. The freedom to make choices and do what you want. For Lady Gabrielle, it was the choice to revive me despite what others might think. For Mom, it is being free of my father and being able to do the things she never could before. For Riaz, it is the being able to make her own choices. We all want the freedom to do the things we think are right. My power is being the wings to carry those I care for to their freedom. My power, as I shouted as to great red dragon wings with green jewels erupted from my back. Amazing, Gabrielle squealed in excitement. Simply amazing, Issei. You've done it, congratulations. I blushed a bit and rubbed the back of my head. I wasn't embarrassed by what she said really. Moreover, her excitement caught me off guard. Congrats, partner. You have taken the first steps to becoming the Red Dragon Emperor. From my first possessor until you, I have always taken the shape of a gauntlet. You have already lived up to your word. You truly are unlike all who have come before you. Time will tell if that is for better or worse. As your partner, I will be here for you to help you grow. You may call me D-Drag. Thanks, D-Drag. D-Drag, this is the woman who I owe my life to, Lady Gabrielle. Lady Gabrielle, this is my dragon partner D-Drag. Introducing someone to a non-corporeal being was weird but seemed appropriate given the circumstances. It's been a long time, D-Drag. Gabrielle spoke with a familiarity I had not expected. So my partner serves heaven this time. Well, this is different, that's for certain. Last I saw you, I believe you were hiding behind your father, shaking like a leaf as the white one and I tore through the sky. Lady Gabrielle's face lit up at D-Drag's words. Oh, don't talk like that. I was so young then. Issei doesn't listen to him. I simply stood at my father's side as these two savage dragons destroyed anything and everything in their paths. Calming herself down, Gabrielle sighed before speaking again. Perhaps it's time to let the past rest. Since your current wielder is on the side of heaven, shall we work together now? Would you aid us as we strive for peace, or is destruction all you crave? You are an impudent little brat. Still, I admire your courage, even if I am trapped in here. I will support my partner in whatever he wishes, be it the salvation of heaven or its ruin. I'd finally heard enough. Okay, that's enough, you two. I will be staying by Gabrielle's side and fighting for heaven. I pray we build a peace that lasts. Until then I shall fight for all of those precious to me. A few hours later, boosted gear training was something new altogether. Unfortunately, of the few others in heaven who had boosted gears, none were free to help me. So D-Drag started by giving me a rundown of my powers. Just having me equipped, all of your basic abilities will be stronger, but until you get stronger you will only have access to 2 unique abilities. First is Boost. This ability grants the wielder double power every 10 seconds. When you have accumulated sufficient power, you release it through your body. This is called Explosion. Doubling my power every 10 seconds. That's unreal. A power like that can't be infinite, I deduced. Correct. Your body can only hold so much power. Before we go into battle, we had best figure out what your maximum number of boosts is beforehand. First, let's just use the ability. Get a training dummy and let's use a regular attack on it. Following his instructions, I brought out a sword training dummy and took my stance. At my side, I rested my hand as if on a sheath and summoned light energy. In Kendo, my favorite set of techniques were in the school of Iaido, or more precisely, Batojutsu. It focuses on techniques where the blade is pulled directly from the sheath into an attack, creating more speed and force than a regular swing. Strike. As commanded, I dashed forward and cut straight through the pole and dummy. Quite satisfied, I went through the motion of sheathing my light blade. Very good, not bring out a new dummy. This time use a single boost and make one strike straight down. Again, as I was told, I brought out a new dummy and set it up. I willed my new power to activate and almost jumped as it did. Boost. Explosion. Energy coursed through my body in a rush that I've never experienced. It feels exhilarating. D-Drag, I feel like I could crush this thing with my bare hands, I boast, unable to contain my own excitement. That's good, but for now let's just slash. Following his lead, I slashed down, focusing more on speed than power. I was surprised when the dummy displayed no physical damage. D-Drag, what's going on here? It's not even hurt. My confusion was a given when I honestly hadn't even felt resistance during my slash. Wait for it. No sooner had he finished speaking did the dummy split in two. Holy crow, I covered my mouth, unsure if I should really finish that sentence. Upon closer inspection, I realized I had cut the thing so clean the wood hadn't even splintered. The wood looked smooth as if it had been freshly sanded. Reaching out with my fingers and stroking the wood, I found that it was every bit as smooth as it looked. With half the effort of my first swing, I multiplied my destructive force. When you use explosion and send that energy through your body, you empowered your strength and your magic. So the light sword you created was that much stronger as well. That slash you used was 4 times its original power as it combined your physical and magical strength. If you had continued boosting, the power would have increased. Now I think it's time to show you the second power. I thought explosion was the second power. No, explosion is merely the activation of boost, nothing more, nothing less. Alright, I'm ready. What's next? That's the spirit. For the next demonstration, we will be doing 2 steps. First, let's work with the self-modification. Anything and everything in you can be strengthened. This technique works similar to boost but has a more direct effect. It is called transfer. It starts the same as when you normally boost your power, but this time I want you to use your new ability to transfer your power to your inner ear. Alright, let's do this. D-Drag. Boost. The familiar rush hit me again. Transfer. I could feel the power focusing itself. All of a sudden my ears felt like they were being bombarded with 1,000 sounds at once. My head was pounding and it was all I could do to keep from passing out. Calm down, partner. You need to focus. Your hearing is now greatly magnified. Focus in and try to separate the sounds. It wasn't all at once, but slowly I could feel the pressure in my head subsiding. Sounds began to grow clearer and more crisp. Then as I focused and I could differentiate them from one another. Collapsing to my knees in relief, sweat poured from my brow. I can hear them, all of the sounds around me. I think I've got it, D-Drag. I can hear all of the sounds and voices. I can hear the spirits in third heaven living their lives and even the seraphs in sixth heaven. I can hear. Enthralled with this new ability, I was carelessly surfing the noises until I happened upon a conversation between two angels in first heaven. D-Drag, I uttered lifelessly. Yeah, partner. Did you catch that conversation too? Of course. D-Drag, what is it? Reflexively, I swallow the building lump in my throat. I really don't think angels are supposed to talk that way. I'm no authority on the matter, but Smart Money says he's gonna fall for sure. All I can do is nod. Cleaning the arena up, I got myself cleaned up and headed out. At that moment my head was swimming about a lot of things, but one thing was for sure. I was done for the day. The next few days progressed much in the same way. Grisela would unleash her own version of boot camp on me. It did vary a bit day by day, but the theme was training my body. She made sure that as soon as my opponent's muscles started moving to attack that I was right there, ready to intercept and counter. Gabriel would then step in and help train me in magic and incorporating my sacred gear into fighting. I found that my body could handle 32 boosts. D-Drag informed me that was an excellent starting point. It still didn't feel like enough. Somehow I think that Gabriel can read minds, because every time I started beating myself up or doubting my strength, she would comfort me. That being said, I tried not to do that often. A version of making up for lost time training could probably give a devil nightmares. Guess I could ask Kiba about that. Finally, the night before the match came. Grisela and Gabriel ordered me to take the day off. They said my muscles and magical power both needed rest and a chance to recuperate. I had spent the day wandering around heaven. Most people gave me respectful greetings as I passed. I wonder what people think of me now. I can't help but feel like I'm still trying to find a place to fit in. Back in the same white pavilion where I had met Gabriel a week prior, I lay on my back gazing up into the moonlight. Some people may hate this feeling, but honestly, I love feeling like a small part of something much grander. All of the stars and planets in the sky make me feel like I am a part of something amazing. I continue to lay there resting comfortably until a voice brought me out of my reverie. Can I join you? Her beauty shining in the moonlight was almost blinding. Blonde hair cascading down white robes, pale skin set against striking blue eyes. I couldn't be sure, but honestly, it looks like she is glowing. Only one word escaped my lips, a name, Gabriel. You seem to be an awfully deep thought, my Issei. She addressed me normally, but her voice held that knowing lilt to it. How? I asked. How what, my dear? She was going to play ignorant. How do you always know? Every time I am hurting, or worrying, or feeling any kind of doubt, you are always there. You don't have any kind of ESP that I know of, so how? My tone sounded frustrated even to my ears. I have always prided myself on my ability to hide my pain after all. She didn't answer with words. Instead, she approached me and sat beside me, gesturing for me to place my head in her lap. I hate to admit it, but I was getting way too comfortable laying in her lap. Still, I complied. As I lay there, she looked down at me, her innocent features highlighted by the slivers of moonlight that made its way through the breaches in her hair that now surrounded both of our faces. I don't know that I've ever had such a genuine smile on my face as the one she gave me now. Completely enraptured, I was unaware that she was moving until she had grabbed my right hand and placed it on her chest just above her heart. Likewise, she placed her hand on my chest. My Issei, she whispered, when you hurt, I hurt. When you are in pain, I am in pain. When you were a human, there was nothing I could truly do to help you. All that changed when you became an angel. I've said it once and I'll say it again, you will never again know loneliness, you will never suffer alone again. From now to eternity I will be by your side. Should all heaven turn against you, I would not. But I choked on whatever I was about to say and could only muster the strength for one more word. Why? I'm not sure why she chose that moment to look away. Probably to give me a chance to compose myself. I wasn't going to cry. I won't let myself. Still, that didn't mean my face didn't show exactly what I am feeling. I watched as her smile softened. Her face was one of wistful recollection. All the while she ran her fingers through my hair. I really wish I could tell what she was feeling. I couldn't keep doing nothing, so I reached out and put my hand on her cheek. Her reaction was immediate and she slightly jerked back. Gabrielle composed herself quickly before she answered me. I think it's kind of the same as why you are fighting the Phoenix. It's not something I have to do, but to me, it's something I just can't not do. Whenever I feel you hurting, I just reach out. That's really all there is to it. It was amazing that while her answer didn't really explain anything, I understood perfectly. Of course, I didn't have to fight for Rias. I was in no way forced to get involved, but when I saw her treated that way, it hurt something inside of me. I had to respond. I even tried to hold back until he started hurting others. She's saying that even though she has the choice, she wouldn't be herself if she didn't. That doesn't exactly answer why it seems that she's so fixated on me and my issues, but for now, I think that's enough. While I was in thought, Gabrielle stroked my cheek. Hey Issei, if I was ever in trouble, would you come and save me too? I didn't even have to think. I couldn't answer right away though as I started to chuckle, that chuckle turning into a laugh, which turned into a full-blown giggle fit. Gabrielle didn't look amused at my outburst, but I couldn't stop it if I wanted to. Just about that was funny, she asked with a look that I could only describe as a pouting princess. It's just, I stopped and took a breath, that you even had to ask is hilarious. Gabrielle, if you are in trouble I will stand by you. If every being on heaven and earth turn against you I'll stand by you. If it costs me my life I'll stand by you. Even if the day came when you hated me and cast me aside I would stand by you. You didn't just save my life, and my mother's life by the way, you gave me a home, the one thing I've wanted all my life. So yes Gabrielle, I'd save you every time. I also return your promise, as long as I live you will never be alone. Our silence echoed the night as we sat there slightly resting against each other. These moments that I have with Gabrielle sound so empty but leave me feeling so full. Honestly, I'm afraid to say anything because I don't want to ruin it. Whatever tomorrow has in store, I'm not afraid. 3 weeks passed by faster than I realized. I had to tell a small lie to my mom. I told her I was with the people she'd met from the church. I also told her that I was going to be undergoing some special training for my future. I just failed to mention what kind of training I was going to be doing. She wasn't thrilled with me missing more school, but since I already had approval from the school she let it go. I'm never happy to leave heaven. More to the point, I don't like leaving Gabrielle's side. I felt like being in her service had finally given my life purpose, and after everything I'd been through I was ready to embrace that fully. That being said, it is always nice to spend time with my mom. Coming home this time was like coming to a new house. It was like Mom had run some kind of everything must go sale while I was gone. Apparently the fishing fund had been a rather sizable one. Seriously, what kind of secret fund name was that? Oh, what's this 80,000 yen for? I'm hunting for whales. Yeah, right. Still, our home was far from lavish, but now it looked more like a home and less like a man's den where he sometimes kept his family. The smelly recliner had been replaced by a nice couch. The poker table had been replaced by a sturdy-looking kitchen table. I think there might even be a new oven in the kitchen, not that I would really know seeing as how I hardly ever cook. I'm home, I shout from the doorway. That's when I heard a gasp and feet coming above me going down the hall and then down the steps. My mom looked as excited as a kid on Christmas. Her eyes lit up and she even clapped her hands together with a small giggle. It made me feel a little guilty that part of me didn't really want to be here. I mean, of course I love living with my mom, and now that the human waste is gone we can be a real family. It was great seeing Mom's full range of emotion that I can only assume she wasn't able to show or maybe feel before. Issei, my baby is home. How was it? The trip, I mean. Did you learn a lot? Was everyone nice? Are you sure you still want to do this? You can always change your mind, sweetheart. Mom was rambling 100 miles a minute and I couldn't get a word in edgewise. Whoa, Mom, calm down a bit. I basically had to shake her to get her to stop. It's good to see you too. The trip was great. It was really hard work, don't get me wrong, but I really feel like I've grown. Yes, I definitely want to keep doing this, but I'll try not to miss school in the future. Plus, I will try to not stay gone from home so long. I watched as she deflated a little, some of the overexcitement leaving her yet never losing her 100-watt grin. I loved that smile. It was the thing that carried me through the darkness all this time. My mom had to be the most loving woman on this entire planet. The only woman who probably surpasses her would be Gabrielle, but of course, she doesn't exactly live on the planet per se. So Mom, what's for dinner? I have to admit I'm starving and have a big day tomorrow. Or maybe you have a big day tonight. I can always order pizza, you go have fun. I have to admit I love teasing my mom now. Oh, Issei, you know better. I only have one man in my life right now and that is my wonderful son. I may date again someday, but for now, I want to make up for all the time it feels like we've lost. Don't worry about being hungry, I have all of your favorites ready to go. I was just waiting for you to get home to get started. What's this about you going to school tomorrow though? It's a weekend. I'm sure I had explained everything to my mom, but with her enthusiasm for me being home, I guess she forgot. With a small sigh, I reminded her, come on Mom, we went over this. I have to go and talk to the student council president about my absence. It was permitted as an educational experience, but I have to turn in the report that I wrote talking about my experience. Then I'll have to fill out some paperwork and get my homework that I've missed. Again, I might get Kiba to help me with it though. Kiba, my mom tapped her chin in recollection. Oh, that nice blonde boy who you brought over once. Tell him how sorry I am about the gay jokes that were made. He seemed very nice. Please do bring him over so that I can apologize. I waved her off. Don't worry Mom, he knew that it wasn't you. I had fully warned him about the welcome, or unwelcome, he may get. With as many girls that flock around him, anyone that calls him gay is just stupid. The only reason that guy doesn't have a harem is that he is just too nice. I think that's one of the reasons we make such good friends, is how we view the way women should be treated. Mom simply beamed another smile at me. Well, that's wonderful. Still, I'd love it if you'd invite him over sometime. This really is our home now and you shouldn't be afraid to use it. It may take some getting used to, I understand. That's why I replaced so much. Oh, and I forgot to tell you the best news. I smirked a bit at Mom's open-ended statement. You met the man of your dreams and are finally going to be with someone who deserves you. She tried to narrow her eyes at me, but her mirthful smile gave her true feelings away. Oh haha, Mr. Funny Man. No, as I said before, the only guy I want to spend time with right now is my handsome boy. My big news is that I got a job. Last week actually, I started working at a law firm as a paralegal. I was well on my way to a degree in law before I got, well, let's just say derailed. Now it seems I'll be able to pick up the pieces. The firm is run by a girl I went to college with and she was so eager to have me come on. Apparently, she's had more work than she can handle. We have even gone out a couple times and had girls' nights. Honestly, I was so happy to hear that it felt like my smile was eating my face. The smile even started to hurt a bit before I was actually able to calm down. How could I not be ecstatic though? After all these years my mom could actually have a life. I wrapped her in a big hug. Looks like we're both out there fighting the good fight now, huh Mom? She laughed a bit at that. Yep, my friend works with child welfare law, so we'll make sure that no other kids get stuck in bad situations ever again. Mom hurried away preparing dinner and I set my stuff down. Hey Mom, I'm gonna step outside real fast. I think I might have dropped something. After hearing my mom's tale, I couldn't help but think someone had a hand in this. Looking up into the evening sky, I looked at the stars that were slowly becoming visible. My luck has been too good lately. It was almost like I had an angel in my corner. Heh. It might seem a little odd now, but on reflex, I closed my eyes. Hey God. Oh, and hey Michael and Gabriel, if you two are listening. I don't know if you guys had something to do with my mom's good fortune recently, but thank you. She has a new job and a friend again. Regardless, if it was your handiwork or now, thank you. You have given us so much, so thank you. The rest of the night was amazing. Mom wasn't kidding when she said she made my favorites. Pad thai, wontons, steamed vegetables, and miso soup were scattered around the table. We laughed and ate the night away. Mom would tell stories about her new job and how her friend almost socked one client in the nose. I did some impressions of a few of the angels I'd met. My impression of Sister Grisela nearly had Mom shooting miso soup out of her nose. Still, the night wore on and it was time for bed. I had to be up early to meet the devils after all. Maybe I could sleep in. They might praise me for being late. Sloth is a pretty big deal sin, right? The next morning, I hadn't really wanted to wake up, but I knew that life was already moving around me, hurrying me to my fate. I thought briefly about my decision to fight Razor and my interjecting in devil affairs. Honestly, I wasn't even able to question myself. I know that were I to face the same situation again, I'd make the same choices. All that was left to do now was face the music. As much of a piece of scum as Razor may be, both Gabriel and Grisela had warned me about him for a reason. Walking into the old school building, I could feel the devils. It was strange, but what should give me a foreboding feel had come to signify some of my friends. Sure, I don't know them all very well, but Kiba for sure, and even Riaz now was starting to seem more like a friend. I wasn't sure about everyone else, but peace certainly seemed possible to me. Between devils and angels anyways, I still have my reservations about fallen angels. Opening the door, I was greeted by smiles. Hey guys, are we ready to get this show on the road? It was then that I noticed a face was missing and Kiba's smile dropped. Hey Issei, it seems that things may have changed in your absence. Kiba, I said flatly, where's Riaz? He looked away, unable to meet my eyes. Razor came back. Issei, I tried to convince Riaz to wait for you, but Razor convinced her that if the two of you fought he would kill you. That the only way to save you was for her to go ahead with the engagement. As her knight and your best friend, I have failed you both. I'm sorry Issei. Just like Kiba to blame himself for everything. Things hadn't gone as planned, but hopefully it wasn't too late. Lord Surzech was crafty. Riaz being his little sister and all, there was no way that this news escaped his notice. I'm sure he would have stalled for me. I took a breath, praying I guess, how long do we have? Kiba was about to answer when a familiar magic circle appeared and an all too familiar silver-haired maid appeared from it. I smiled, now I was certain. Grafia, it is an honor. I hope you bring word, I politely assumed with a grin. Her smirk was almost unnoticeable. Almost. An engagement party is currently being held in the underworld. Surzech would be pleased for you to, join it. I spread my arms in a what can I do sort of gesture. Well, if Lord Surzech wishes it, I must attend. In the name of peace, that is. Of course, she replied. With that, multiple magic circles appeared and we were off. We appeared in front of a large castle. It was easily the largest building I've ever seen. The detailing and stonework were simply beautiful. I wouldn't trade heaven for anything, but it was easy to see the charms of hell. Immediately guards fell upon me and I was forced to hold up my hands in surrender. It looked like things were off to a really bad start. That is until a certain silver-haired maid came to my rescue. Her power flared as she stared down the guard detail. You would dare aim your weapons at the personal guest of Mao Lucifer. The punishment for that is death. Honestly, if the men had drawn back their weapons any faster, they would have thrown them behind themselves. Panic spread over the faces of the men there as mumbled replies and apologies came from all around me. I waved them off as Grafia simply bowed to me and escorted me forward. She led us all the way to a massive set of double doors. They were blood red and lined in gold. The whole place screamed of elegance, but these two doors, in particular, seemed special. Places like this always sought to impress outsiders. If I was a betting man, I'd say this was the ballroom. With a bow, Grafia spoke, this is as far as I can take you. I must go and rejoin Lord Surzech. Please do enjoy yourselves. I had thought she was done as she went one way and we walked forward until the split second she passed me. I could almost discard it as myself hearing things. No one else seemed to hear it as I stopped to look back to see her still walking away. I know though, I'm not wrong, she had said it. kick his ass. With renewed vigor, I marched forward. Now, I'm not an impulsive person by nature. Sure, I've been known to make some rash decisions in certain situations, but on the whole, I'm a very level-headed guy. So you might say me kicking the doors in was slightly out of character. I had the immediate feeling of being underdressed. The members of the Orc and I were all in our school uniforms while everyone in attendance was. I wasn't about to let that slow me down though. I marched straight through the crowd with the Orc hot on my tail. About the time we made it to the center of the ballroom, the music had stopped and everyone had moved away, giving me ample space. It basically put a spotlight on me, but at that moment that was precisely what I needed. It was then that I spotted Rias. She looked breathtaking. She wore a strapless, sleeveless gown of white decorated with red and gold. Her hair was slightly curled with a small bun on the top of her head containing about half of her hair. Several golden accessories adorned her wrists and neckline. She had always looked like royalty, but now for certain, I knew I was looking at a princess. Far less impressive at her side was Razor. A suit of red pluming feathers around his collar made him look like a peacock. His ability to dress himself hadn't improved much, having it unbuttoned halfway. Luckily, someone had made sure to tuck in his shirt this time at least. Our eyes met and you could tell in an instant he was not happy to see me at all. I smirked up at him. Hey devil pig, didn't we have a fight planned? Don't tell me you're chickening out. I wouldn't expect you to duck out of our fight, being of the great Phoenix clan and all. Kiba placed a hand on my shoulder. Issei, perhaps you should observe a bit more tact. I laughed a bit but didn't look at him as I replied, what do you mean? I got pig, chicken, and duck all in one spurt. Give me a few more lines here and I can call him everything in the barnyard. I have a really good one for donkey coming too. I could literally feel Kiba and Kaneko grimace behind me while I heard Akino giggle a bit. I don't know who let you in here, but you are not welcome, Razor shouted. Rias here has had a change of heart, you see. She has come to me willingly, haven't you, Rias? So there is no need for this silly exhibition at all. Rias refused to meet my gaze. Still, I wouldn't look away. Everything about the way she felt and how this situation was affecting her could be read from her posture. Her shoulders were hunched slightly, her eyes cast downwards, and her smile was gone. She looked defeated. Rias, I shouted, causing her to finally snap up and look at me. Did you think I'd stand for this? Did you think for 1 second that I would let you do this to protect me? No, I won't let you do this. I have come for you, Rias. It's time for you to come home. Arrogant fool. Razor berated me with his fury bubbling over. Didn't I tell you? She came to me consensually. There is nothing you can do now. Our fight is over. You've lost. Now be gone. I so loved this part. The part where the bad guy was so sure that he had everything figured out. At the very height of his confidence. It is just the best time to take him down a peg. Oh? I questioned him innocently. Here I thought we were an exhibition to further peace. Since when did this become a fight over Rias? I have no claim to her. I just think you should treat her better. As I recall, Surzech requested we have this match. Are you saying you went behind the back of the Lord of Hell and did something to avoid a match with me? Gasps of surprise could be heard all around the room, but the best was the look on Razor's face. He had obviously thought he had me backed into a corner. Oh well, it was time to put the final nail in the coffin. I laughed out loud. Wait until I get back to heaven. I can't wait to tell everyone about the might of the great house of Phoenix. It wasn't long before Kiba and the rest of the Orc caught on to my antics and started laughing softly. Turns out it was contagious, and before long everyone was laughing. Everyone knew what I was, obviously. They could probably sense the moment an angel appeared in hell. I wouldn't have expected the mob to turn on a devil in favor of an angel. Now that was funny. Razor looked like he was about to explode when a powerful new presence made its way into the room. All eyes turned and bowed as Lord Surzech himself made his way to the center of the room. This man might be the craftiest man I'd ever met. Somehow I had a feeling he and Lord Michael would make great friends. Both of them had that twinkle behind their innocent smile that said they were up to something mischievous. Oh, Issei, so good of you to join us, Lucifer greeted me. It has been 3 weeks, hasn't it? Well then, since everyone is here, shall we get started? If you are not ready, we can always do this at a later date. Oh, he's good, please, Lord Lucifer, I am ready to begin at your word. That was it. Razor had taken all he could handle. This is absurd. We have an angel in hell. We should do what we will with him, not treat him like a guest of honor. Dead silence covered the room as killing intent washed forth from Lord Surzech Lucifer like a tsunami. It was almost hard to breathe as his power flowed from him. An icy glare that I had never seen before on his face was fixed on Razor, and the once proud Phoenix buckled at the knees under the pressure of his gaze. You dare threaten my guest? The words were like weapons themselves, and it was obvious that Razor was feeling them. Before he spoke, Razor fell forward and prostrated himself before his king. Forgive me, my lord. I was simply overwhelmed at the disruption of such a happy day. We were celebrating the engagement of myself with your dear sister after all. Could we not do this another day? This was something I had not foreseen. As prideful as Razor was, I could not see him begging anyone, even his king. If Surzech granted him this, all was lost. Truthfully, I wasn't worried for a moment. This is Surzech we're talking about after all. I had hardly spent any time around the man but already felt like I knew him quite well. So, Lucifer began slowly, emphasizing his words, on the day you promised me you would have this exhibition, you went out and planned this event. Are you looking to shame me in front of heaven? Would you send your Mao to the seraphs of heaven and beg them to give us a rain check? Am I to ask for their mercy? He wasn't just good, he was freaking brilliant. Razor couldn't respond fast enough as sweat poured onto the floor from his face that was still firmly planted against it. No, my lord. This is all my doing. I was thoughtless. Please allow me to postpone our pending nuptials and fulfill my previous commitment. Razor's form visibly eased as the killing intent dissipated from the room. Very well. Before continuing, Sirzech turned his gaze to me, and it was all that I could do not to flinch after what I'd just seen. Nevertheless, I must seek your forgiveness, Issei. I have heard of several accounts of rudeness that you have endured since your arrival. I was prepared to grant you a simple request up your victory, perhaps money or land, but now it seems I can refuse you almost nothing. What would you like as your prize, if you win, that is? Part of me was really hoping that this peace treaty went through flawlessly now. After everything that has happened, I knew there was much I could learn from this man. Devil or not, he managed to take full control of a situation and use all of the events to his advantage. He had gotten everything he wanted without even lifting a finger. Good or evil, that was amazing. I smiled, a reflection of the one Sirzech wore. I see. Well, I haven't had much time to consider given the new circumstances. As an angel, you know I'm not one for selfish desires. How about this? I wish that your sister be freed from this engagement. I would wish that she be allowed to choose her own future husband, that she may find someone to love. I looked back and forth between Lucifer and Graphia before finishing my thoughts in a lower tone. Love is truly a wonderful thing, isn't it, my lord? His grin softly turned from that of a careful schemer to one of compassion. That it is. So shall it be then. If you win, I shall grant your wish, and this engagement shall be dissolved. So I have said it, so shall it be. It was Razor's turn to look on in defeat. That is, until he caught sight of me. He may be a fool, but it didn't take him long to register that all he had to do to keep his little dream alive is defeat me. If I have to give the guy credit for anything, it's that he doesn't lack for confidence. The look on his face said one thing very clearly: you're dead. Sirzech explained the rules of the matches to me quickly, and they began to prepare an alternate space for the fight, whatever that means. I was calming myself and reflecting on all my training. In my mind, I danced through all of the moves and skills I had learned. I wasn't alone either. Ddraig was here with me. I could hear his low growling from within the sacred gear in my mind. He was ready too. That was when something slammed into my back and wrapped itself around me. It didn't take a genius to figure out who it was, but the soft squish from her chest helped. Riaz, is there something you need? You don't have to do this, she pleaded with me. I've already accepted my fate. Please, I can't watch you die. Her voice was breaking as she spoke, and it tugged at my heartstrings. She was willing to endure an eternity as this man's plaything so that I wouldn't get hurt. It seems like every time I turn around I am finding more amazing women entering my life these days. Softly I grabbed her chin and brought it up so that we locked eyes. Believe in me, Riaz. I understand your fear. I am not so foolish that I would think I could just beat him easily. I am ready, and I will save you. I will not let you down. Sirzech then called for me. Issei, are you ready? Yeah. I turned my face and replied, instantly surprised by the feeling of lips on my cheek. For luck, she said with a slight blush as she turned and walked towards her servants. Kiba walked towards me. You got this. He is a high-class devil, remember, and as you saw in the club room, his power is not to be taken lightly. Be careful, my friend. I believe in you. I nodded to him and fist-bumped with him before heading towards Sirzech's. I stood a bit apart from Razor and waited. Suddenly, 2 magic circles appeared and I found myself in what appeared to be an old stone courtyard. It was sparsely decorated with a broken-down stone fountain, a couple benches, and a balcony that seemed to lead to nowhere. Suddenly a voice came from nowhere and everywhere all at once. This match is a friendly exhibition to further the peace between the 3 factions. I, Sirzech Lucifer, shall serve as the judge for this match. Please observe the rules and show us a good fight. May the best man win, be he angel or devil. Boost. I prepared myself for battle, spreading my wings, wielding a light sword and donning my sacred gear. I was not going to take this fight lightly. The courtyard seemed to be about the size of a football field. It sounds like a lot, but I knew from experience in a fight like this you can cross that distance quickly. While I prepared myself, Razor simply chuckled. What's so funny? I asked, slightly annoyed. His amused look wasn't good at all. You could have been spared all this pain. You could have just walked away. You have no place in the business of devils to begin with, but now that you have sufficiently humiliated me, I will teach you your place. As a son of the great house of Phoenix, I shall destroy you swine. Boost. I relaxed my stance just a bit now that he'd finally decided to put his foot in his mouth again. Oh, we're back to you being a devil pig again. That's good, cause I was getting confused about other people talking about phoenixes and such. Thanks for the clarification. That was all the prodding it took as the man literally exploded. Luckily the attack, being omnidirectional, wasn't very strong. Still, the fact that he could set the whole courtyard ablaze was impressive. Creating his own wings of fire, he charged at me. It was at that moment I was never more grateful for Grysila's training. Boost. As I sidestepped his attack, I slashed through part of his torso. He healed almost immediately while I put a little distance between us again. Repeatedly he charged me, and every time I would dodge and counter, all the while building up my own special little surprise for him. Boost. It was then that I heard Grysila's voice in my head. An angry fighter is a stupid fighter. Keep your wits about you and wear him down. Still, take heed. If he gets his hands on you, you are in for pain. That last part was what I was afraid of. After about 20 attempts on Razor's part, he hardly seemed to be slowing down at all. To my benefit, however, he was certainly not taking light damage well. Fueled by rage or not, every time my sword cut into him his body burned with pain. It may only be slight, but his regeneration was slowing. Boost, 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 boost. In his fury, Razor began shouting at me, "Stay still, you coward. How do you expect to win the fight if you are dancing around everywhere? Don't tell me that heaven is nothing but winged chickens." Razor's taunting did nothing to me. Well, that is until his next sentence. "I'm sure your master is a lonely bitch too, probably desperate for a real man like me to come and show her what it means to be a woman." Boost. My face must have told Razor everything he needed to know. I knew it. The master of a weak child like you had to be a woman. I bet she is just desperate to know the touch of a real man. That poor angel has never known the love of a real man. Don't worry though, I'll slum it a bit for you. After I'm done with Riaz, that is. Boost. Truly I knew that I had lost control of the battle. He had completely taken the flow from me. I was not someone who was easy to anger. Unfortunately for me, I had basically fed Razor everything he needed to know about baiting me, and how he was using it now. In my fury, I charged at him. Even when he launched a pillar of fire at me, I didn't alter my course. I wish I could say my aura completely repelled the attack. That, however, was not the case as I found myself on the flat of my back. It hurt a lot. The flames of a phoenix were obviously nothing to be messed with. Before I could return to my feet, however, more flames washed over me. Lost in my anger, I couldn't even defend myself properly, and the barrier I deployed was shattered easily. Boost, 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 boost. I somehow managed to keep from taking enough damage to reset my boost counter, but just barely. When I slowly started to rise, I found myself grounded again with a foot pressed against my chest. That cocky bastard pinning me down with his foot. I was completely made aware of the difference in our power now. Boost, boost. I barely registered Razor talking to me now. You know, I don't know many female angels, let alone many powerful enough to have a peerage. There is Gabrielle, of course. I could feel my face clench in further anger. Damn it. Gabrielle, are you serious? Razor laughed. Well, this will be a treat, won't it? After I finish with Riaz, I shall take the most beautiful woman in heaven. Oh, don't worry though, I've decided to let you live. I think I'd like you to watch as I take them. Imagine her, Issei, the most beautiful woman in heaven, begging you for help as I ravage her. Then slowly but surely, she starts to say my name. Razor, 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 as I plunge her into ecstasy. Boost, boost. It seemed like he was going to continue, but something in me snapped. No, this was not going to happen. I am done. Grabbing his foot with renewed strength, I threw the devil off of me. Slowly I rose to my feet as he scrambled up. I think he was still taunting me, but I couldn't hear him anymore. All that I could see was Gabrielle's face. The image of her begging me for help, of me having failed her. Whatever he was trying to say, he would not get the chance to finish. I've had enough. Boost, 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 boost. With what little control I still had left, I shouted to whoever was observing, "If you want him to live, you had best have him forfeit now." Explosion. I formed a light sword into a small concentrated form just like a katana. I entered my stance, readying myself for Batojutsu. Razor was convinced yet again of his victory and just stood smugly waiting to see what I had. Never before had I accumulated so much power. It felt similar to the energy Lucifer had put out earlier. I guess Razor is just too dumb to notice. First technique, I whispered, "Soryasan." With a speed that most eyes could not see, much less follow, I dashed forward and slashed my blade clean through him. Typically the slash is done horizontally, but in this instance, using my enhanced speed, I brought the sword vertically through him. The fear was obvious on his face. He had not seen me move and wasn't aware of it until I went through the motions of sheathing my light blade. As pointless as I know it is, it still feels right. Was that it? Razor dogged me. After all of the showboating, you accomplished nothing. That was when the announcement came. The match is over. Issei is the winner. A team is headed to your position, Razor. Please do not move. As everyone probably guessed, the man didn't listen. What are you talking about? I'm not even hurt. It was then, as he flailed his arms in protest, that he noticed something wrong. His vision was distorted and flames erupted straight down his body. Even through the pain, which must have been excruciating, he simply looked confused. Finally, after a few moments, he screamed. I had cleaved him in half, and now he was realizing it. The power of light I used was so immense that it was keeping him from healing. A team appeared within moments. They stabilized him and gave him a sedative. Unfortunately for Razor, it seemed that his powers were burning through the medicine, so they were forced to carry him away whilst he bellowed in pain. Regardless of the circumstances, I was not proud of myself. Had it been any other devil, they would be dead now. I could not say for certain that he wouldn't be. As I was teleported out of the arena and back into the ballroom, I found myself surrounded by applause. Confused, I looked to Serzech, who gave me a small nod which gave me some small relief. True relief didn't find me until I was wrapped up in arms again. Looking to find my assailant, I was lost in a wash of crimson hair. No doubt, this girl was beautiful. Whatever happened in the fight was in the past. I can only live in the moment now, and the truth of the moment now was that she was free. She was free, and I made that happen. Idiot, she said as she squeezed me tighter. You are such an idiot. You could have been killed. We barely know each other and yet you risked your life for me. Why, don't you have things to live for, people that you love? I smiled gently at her and stroked her head while hugging her back. How could I face any of them again if I let this happen to you? You have a life, friends, dreams, and ambitions. How can I say that any of those are more important than my own? By all rights, I should be dead. That statement made Rias flinch, but I wasn't done. It's true. I was killed by that fallen angel, and yet I had not one, but two wonderful women come to my rescue. Please, consider this repayment for coming to save my life. I now give you your life back. Issei, she whimpered into my chest. Oh Issei, I didn't want anything from you, just for you to be happy and alive. Thank you so much. You are the most amazing man I've ever known. I won't regret what is, but just know that I'll always have a place for you in my peerage should you decide to switch sides. I smirked a bit at that. While I wouldn't look for that happening anytime in the near future, I am still grateful for your offer. I stayed at the party for a while longer to be polite, though to be honest I was ready to be out of hell. No offense to anyone, it was a really cool place as far as I'd seen, but just the knowledge of where I was didn't sit well. Although to be honest, that is probably just an excuse. The real issue, if I'm being honest, is I still haven't come to terms with trying to kill Razor. In that moment I was doing everything in my power to be rid of him. I wanted to get out of here, I wanted to go to heaven, I wanted to see Gabriel, but most of all the little kid in me just wanted to see my mom. I was fighting back my sorrow as I was hugged for the third time tonight. I wasn't sure it was a good thing that I was starting to memorize the feeling of her breasts pressed against my back. Rias, I managed without sounding too upset. To what do I owe the pleasure? And for the second time tonight I felt her lips on my cheek. I'm not giving up on you. I'm not like most devils, Issei, happy with fulfilling their desires on whatever seems pretty at the time. I want one man in my life. Human, devil, angel, hell, you could be a fallen angel for all I care, I would still want you in my life. So take this as my direct letter of challenge. I am determined to become the woman you spend your life with and won't go down without a fight. She left me there speechless and returned inside where her peerage waited for her. I could see them standing just behind the door. I wasn't sure, but it looked like Kiba was laughing. Traitor. With a large sigh but somewhat refreshed heart, I went home to see my mom. Okay, sadly the chapter is over. And if you enjoyed, just leave a like and subscribe with post notification, so when the next chapter is ready, you will be notified. Okay, see you in the next video. Bye.